Hiya everyone. If you're all there, not down at the Echo Arena. Well, it's not the Echo Arena, it's the, I don't know what it's called now, the MS Arena, is it? Anyway, if you're all down there, have a great night. If you're not down there, join me. Talk about football. That's all. Just talk about football. And let's just hope, everything's okay with our team, with our new manager. I was looking at David Lynch today, and he was going on about the back room. I don't know. I just don't know anything. I was trying to listen to. Good evening, Mr. Franco Carlyle. Thank you, Dad. And we're in love, Frank, and we feel fine. Yeah, I feel fine. I always remember when Paul McCartney got married, and he was coming out the registry office, and with Lindsay, and he said, the reporter said, "How do you feel?" And he went, "I feel fine," because that just came out then. I feel fine. I feel fine. That's always resonated with me, that. I couldn't get a ticket for it's for season ticket. All yeah, there is. Yeah, I was going to bring my daughter, but as you said, it's all season ticket holders. Greetings, Frank. Talking about the new manager or coach or stooge. Says Chris. I think it's a mixture of both, to be honest. If we sell Diaz in the summer massive down, hang on. If we sell Diaz for Somerville, massive downgrade, in my opinion. Yeah, he's all right. Don't forget, he's a championship player. I don't care what anyone says. He's a championship player. Is that what we're going to now? Is that the level? I was talking to Cop TV this morning, Alex. I think it's called Cop TV because there's not that many cop pigs, and they all seem the same. They all sound the same, and you don't know what you're on. But I know Alex. And he's a lad named Doyley, and he calls everyone lad. All right, lad. Yeah, lad. That's it, lad. He's a nice lad, He's a nice lad. And we were talking, and I don't know. It's just one of those things where everybody's trying to. I don't know whether it's to sell Klopp or what. I just don't know. But he asked what I asked last week or the week before. Who should we retain? Who's the principal players that we should retain? I'll tell you what they said. If you want to join in, who's the players that we should retain for next season? Norman, hiya Frank, hiya Norman. You've got everything now for me. You're coming down on Saturday to see. Is it Saturday or the first? I don't know when the bloody first is. Anyway, whether it is or not, you're coming on the first to see Youssef. I'm not interested in that Somerville. I'm being honest, neither am I, Youssef, and neither is Darryl. Even if Frank says TW74, IAT, you're okay. And Youssef carries on by saying, he's not good enough for us. Yeah, I agree. I'd love Edison from Atalanta, class act, says David. Darryl Merry. Yeah. He's very good. You've got to look at it's no yet. Look, every year, and I mean every year, St Six and Gillette, now these lot, FSG, we've always been saying we'd like him, 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 every year, every summer. And every summer's a war chest promised, you never get it. So you can guess as much as you want now. You can say I'd like, but we won't get them. We will not get them. And now we've got a new manager in, now coach, he doesn't pick anyone, it's Edwards and Ward. They're doing all the buying. They're going out, they're targeting players who are good on stats, if you think about that. It makes me cringe, I'm being honest, it really does. I remember he scored the winner against us at Anfield for Leeds, and yeah. You just can't go on a goal, honestly. I remember Shearu scoring a cracker against Man United or Chelsea, I forget now, and we bought him on that. Shearu, I always remember that. I always remember buying Salif Diao and Diouf. Remember him, Diouf? And we bought them on the premise of having a good World Cup. Useless. We bought Phil Babb on a good World Cup with the Republic of Ireland in America. Useless. You can't go on players. You've got to look at them. You've got to ride them up. When we bought Virgil and Alisson together, we knew that it was absolutely brilliant. We knew that it was absolutely brilliant buys because they were brilliant. But you can't really go on and just start guessing that this player is good and this player is good on the premise of having a couple of good games. Somerville, for me, is a championship player. And, to say sell Diaz, I'm not saying you're saying that, but other people have. Sell Diaz and bring him in. I'm sorry. I'll just go down. See George there. Just let me go down, George. I'll bring you right in. Chris Tick says, yeah, for me, the downgrade is that only about getting top four to keep the money going into the Fenway asset base. Yusuf, we've got strong interest in Edison, that Edison fella from Atalanta, but I don't have faith in the board in getting him over the line. There you go. I've more or less said it for you. Yusuf. Norman, I don't rate that Somerville. Seen him a lot this season. He comes inside, gives the ball away easy. And why is he always wearing gloves even in warm weather? I am often wrong, but only my opinion. I think a lot of opinions there. Think of a lot of opinions. We have good young squad. If any signings should be upgrades and prime top class to announce, says Chris. Yep. Yes, Saturday mate, says Norman. Yeah. I'm not interested in Archie Gray as well, says Paul. Even if Francis, says Steve Evans. I'm going to bring in George now. And that's why are we shopping in Poundland for players, says Yusuf. Yanks have made a fortune again. They won't give money for transfers until they sell. And that's spot on. Bringing in there the found Shankly. George Scott. How you doing?
Hiya, Frank. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you looking so well too. You've been through
Thank
a little
you.
bit recently. I know all about it.
Yeah.
And it's great to see you coming out the other side and looking strong and healthy. Fingers crossed it carries on that way, Frankie.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, George. I was, the lads are going on there, and it's about, it's about the new, everything. Everything has changed
Yeah.
structure with Liverpool Football Club. I'm talking about from the coach to the backroom staff
Yeah.
to everything has changed. Everything. And it's the same old, like, trying to choose players who'd be good for Liverpool. But with this, be all right if Jürgen was still with us. You could say, well, yeah, that suits our system. But we haven't a clue what the system's going to be like. We haven't a clue. And what came out, George, which really upset me, and was that we're not after a DM, a defensive mid. And I can't get over that.
No.
Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but people are concerned, like myself, concerned. We need a top quality DM.
Yeah, we've got no communication from the people at all at the moment. Nobody said
No,
anything about
not.
who they're going for. Fans are left in the dark at the moment until there's some announcement. One thing I do know, we need to get players that are better than the ones we've got, not the same or worse. And the lad from Leeds, I don't think is one we should be going for. He didn't particularly do well at Wembley in the big stage, did he, the weekend? So,
And this
that's
is the problem. But George, this is the problem. And some fans, not on here, not on mine, and yours and everybody else's pod here, on our pod. People are actually saying, well, get rid of Diaz and bring in the Somerville.
No,
Don't
they're
you
not in the
say?
same league.
I
No.
can't believe exactly. I can't
No.
believe it. What they're saying. He's a championship player, and I never watched the Leeds game. I'm being honest. At the weekends, I didn't watch it. They don't interest me. And people have said to me, "No, he's not good enough. He's not good enough." There's JK there. Good evening, JK.
Good evening, Frank. Good evening, George. Hope you're well.
Hi, JK. Hi, mate. Nice to hear from you.
Nice to hear you.
Yeah, I think Diaz is a proven world-class player. He's an international player. Somerville's a championship player up till now.
Yeah.
And I don't really think the two compare. I'm not saying Somerville in the future won't develop into a great player, but I can't compare him with Diaz, without a doubt. Not at the moment.
Yeah. What do you think, JK? Somerville for Diaz.
Not for me. Don't really know too much about Somerville. The hype there. His name was getting mentioned a few weeks ago, actually. So for me, Luco, as Chris is saying, he's 27. He's on low wages. And if I was him, he probably wants to move to get better wages, maybe. But who's willing to pay the fee? That's the question. Because the fee we would want is going to be double, maybe triple what we paid for him, So it's one of those ones. But for me, he's the only guy in the... I was going to say, he's the one guy in the team you can give the ball to take the pressure off the defence and the midfield, He holds on to it 10 seconds, maybe even a bit longer. So we get back in shape pretty quick. And he's the only guy who can do that, because Salah, he gets the ball, sort of loses it sometimes, Where Diaz, ball retention is like one of the best.
And how many times on this podcast of ours have we said that the ball goes out? There's our defence is there, and they see where Diaz is, and the ball goes to him, and he's away. He's down to the 18-yard box, opposition's 18-yard box, which relieves the defence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the defence organises. And this is what other fans don't see. They haven't a clue.
Yeah.
They just don't see that.
You find a lot of things with these agents that stir in the pot to try and get these things going, and it all depends what Diaz wants to do. I mean, I can't see him really benefit from leaving Liverpool. We're in the Champions League this year. The only thing it might be in his mind is that Klopp's leaving. That's the only thing I could think. And Klopp's left rather. But other than that, I can't see any benefit going to Barcelona or anywhere else this season because they're not doing as well as we are, really, in a sense. I mean, and they've got financial problems as well, Barcelona, at the moment, and they just sacked the manager. So they've got a new manager coming in. So I'll be surprised if he leaves. I think most of the guys will give another season. They'll give one season to this lad, Slot. They'll give one season. Champions League. Go for it. And at the end of the season, depending on what we achieve or not, you'll see big changes.
Yeah. For me, though,
go on,
I was going to quickly say, he takes approximately about 25 grand a week home after tax. And that's sort of ridiculous, That's why I wouldn't mind, give the guy a pay rise, Show a bit of faith and love in the guy who's gave a few years to us now. And that's the owners. I think that's on the owners to actually do that. We've got like Matip and Thiago combined, nearly 300 grand a week there.
Well, that's ridiculous, isn't it, JK? Yeah. That's ridiculous. A player of Diaz's quality plays every game almost, getting 25 grand a week take home. I know it's a lot of money, but by today's standards, it's nothing for a Premier League footballer. And compared to Thiago and compared to Salah and the rest of them, he should be up there. Not maybe as high as Salah for what he's achieved, but certainly should be well up the league.
He should easily be quadruple his wages.
Yeah. Absolutely, Frank.
Yeah. And, as you said, he should be up there with the rest of some of the players, their wages.
That's up to the board to do that. That's up to the people in charge to get his wages up there if they want to keep him.
Of course. I'll just go through some comments here by the lads. Norman says, we need a DM proper, solid one. That should be priority. Anyone can see that. Also a centre-half, but a DM is the one we need.
Yeah.
And he carries on by saying, Andre is still there if we want him. A proper dog terrier, getting his tackles in like a Mascherano. I've said that all along. I've said it all along.
Yeah, go and get him.
I've said it that he's like, I've seen him, it's only Googling him. But he's like Mascherano, and I love Mascherano. I thought he was a great
fabulous player, yeah.
The Snide Transfer Committee says it's all yet they're back, aren't they? The Transfer Committee.
If the Andre deal was done in January, we would have won the league title. Endo was the most important player in our team for a while. As soon as he was injured, we sort of fell apart. If we had another DM in January, me and Frank were going on a mad campaign. We need a DM, and look what happened. We needed a DM.
Yeah.
Come on, we're not Einstein. It's like basic logic, football thinking. You're going for the league title. You're going for the Europa League. You've won the League Cup, and you're going for the FA Cup, and you've got Endo as the only DM, and you end up sacrificing McAllister to play that position. So for me, they've never really helped Klopp in that way. Gave him everything he needed, the tools to win everything. So for the fans who were moaning, he didn't win nothing like this, he only won one league. Give him the tools, he would have won much, much more. 100%.
Well, I was looking at a pod today, and it wasn't Alex Gildays, it wasn't him. One of the things came up. One of the comments by, one of the supporters, and said, why can't we play McAllister there all next season as a DM? Because they know that we're not going after a DM.
He's not a DM.
Exactly. These are the fans. I don't like criticising our fans, but, some of them haven't a clue. They just haven't a clue. And that's the problem that we've got with some of our lads. I'm just going through some of these, okay. Evening, George. Steve Evans.
Hi, Steve. Nice to hear from you.
Hi, Steve.
And Norman. Evening, George. I seen a photo of you with 1965 Cup final scarf. great.
Yeah, there's a lady called Lizzie Hoare. She had it, or I think her father had it at Wembley in '65, and it was knitted with the names of every player on the scarf that played in that final. Liverpool's first ever win in FA Cup final. Wonderful scarf, bit of an iconic piece of Liverpool history, and I was proud to wear it for 5 minutes in Jurgens last week.
Well, you know what? It's funny you saying that, because I'm going to go through these. Please, I've got to go through these comments. Let me please. But just to say, we were in a semi. I think it was against Chelsea when Peter Thompson scored at Villa Park, beat them 2-0.
Yes, it was semi-final.
And you know what? I seen, fellas with that scarf on, with all the names of the, like, you just go back, it's sort of like Lawrence, Lawler, Ben, you see them all around.
Yeah, but this one's
all
special.
around the brilliant, knitted on, by the way. So, it does, it's just great. Paul, evening, George, good to see you, says Paul Turner.
Hi, Paul, good to see you.
TW, I think we need a top DM. Give Trent, Verge and Mo extensions, and let's see how Slot gets on. That's TW that he carries on by saying, evening, George. We've got David Long's brother. Andre, not good enough. That's why he's cheap and still in Brazil, says Herbert Long's brother.
Oh, maybe you've seen him.
And Chris says, I don't blame Jürgen, but we are coming well through a transition season. I've said that, Chris. But it's going to be another transition with Slot. Not good for progress. I'm sick of videos saying Slot is similar to Klopp personality-wise. Not interested in his personality. I'm more interested in his tactics, says Yusuf. That's what we've been getting. They're trying to compare. I don't know whether they're trying to sell us this.
Yeah.
Like his personality is great, fist pumps and all this nonsense. I don't know whether they're trying to sell. Everybody's got a different personality. You can't clone anybody.
Yeah.
You cannot do it. And that's the sad indictment of, it's trying to sell a product. And to me,
Liverpool fans are not stupid. They'll judge him on results. Simple as that.
Absolutely. And Norman says, it's not about Andre being a good footballer. He is not a player who will provide a clever pass. He will provide a simple pass, but he will run and tackle like a dog. It's about balance. That's Norman's answer, I think, to you, sir. And evening, JK.
Evening, TW.
Steve Evans,
Bless,
evening,
bro.
JK.
Bless, bro.
And Paul Turner, evening, JK.
Evening, bro.
And Norman, evening, JK.
Evening, Norman. Nice to see you.
And there's a biggie here. And it's from Jeff Ellison. Good evening, Frank. I know that this is off and on about the past, but there's a lot to be learned from the old way of thinking. Back in the day before the Prem was formed, players were scouted for ages. In brackets, I think Jeff Twentyman was a brilliant scout. Of course he was.
He was.
They used to bring in 2 or 3 players a season at most who suited the Liverpool way. It's all gone now.
Hang on.
We knew about Jeff Twentyman, didn't we, George?
We did. He was probably the best scout Liverpool ever had.
And as Chris says, Luco was 27, coming into his prime years. Don't forget this season was disturbed by the drama with his dad, White Cell.
Yeah.
Norman, to be honest, I'm more convinced with Nunes on the left than Somerville. I mean that. Nunes, best for us, is wide. That's what he says.
Yeah.
And Steve Evans, we'll sign someone who hasn't been named anywhere. If you sign someone, and it'll be someone you've never heard of. If Salah stays another year, Luko becomes our most valuable asset, I think. What do you think of that, says Yusuf? What do you think of that?
I'm not so worried about assets. I'm worried about what he does on the pitch and that he stays with us. And he'll still be an asset at the end of the season, won't he? He'll still be an asset.
Lead the whiz kids, even if Frank George and JK in chat.
Bless Lee.
And Lisa Whittock. Even in Frank and chat, surely if you sell a player, you should replace with a better. That's what you said, George.
Exactly.
That's what you said. And this is what it's all about. Excuse me. Sorry. Excuse me. Herbert Lom's brother.
I love that name. It's brilliant. It tickles me every time, that.
I have to read it out.
I wonder if he's got a sister called Herbert Lom's sister.
What was Herbert Lom's brother's name, actually? Was it Tom?
Herbert Lom's.
His brother, Tom Loms.
He's giving away his secret now.
I don't know. We need to find out his brother's name.
Tom Loms. The midfields we have at the moment won't be winning the title. They say we have too many midfielders, so let's move someone and go for an upgrade.
Yeah,
but
I think
we've got.
Yeah,
you move on.
Like we've got numbers, we've got the numbers in midfield, but I just say that we need 2 DMs all season. It's like that's the only thing that worries me about our midfield. Like we've got McAllister, we've got Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Curtis. So we've got the players. We've got Harvey Elliott in there, Carvalho maybe coming back. So we've got the numbers, but for me, 1 DM, Endo.
Yeah, they're all attacking midfielders. The midfield needs to defend the defence. Need to give the defence some defence. Otherwise, we're open too much last year. Too many balls were going through in the middle, and we're losing too many goals. Because we haven't got a DM.
Well, Lisa Whitlock says, we've been wanting a world-class DM for a few years now, and we have.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for a long time.
Well, we brought in Enzo. Now, Enzo, don't get me wrong, he's been great for us.
Yeah.
But this is the problem what we had. We knew that he was going to these Asian games, and we were left with no one.
Yeah.
This is why we were screaming out for a top quality defensive mid in January. Never got one.
We didn't get him.
Jamie Phillips. Good evening, guys. Good evening, Jamie, if you're still with us.
Jamie?
I wonder if he's got a show. I think he has midnight shows. I think so, if he's still got them going. I'll keep it real. I'll just go through all these lovely names that have just joined us. Keep it real. Evening, Frank. Evening, JK. And George.
Keep it real.
What happened to Jamie's live stream? I don't know. I don't know what he said. Oh, yeah, he says, he's live at midnight, which is good. If I'm awake.
I won't be on that one.
If I'm awake. Tony, evening, gents. Evening, Tony. The beautiful Dorothy. Hi, guys. Frank, George, and JK.
Hey, Dorothy, lovely.
Hello, Dorothy.
Scottish Bear. Yeah, that's right up your street. There's Darryl there. Hey, Darryl.
Hi, Darryl.
Hey, boys, all right?
Good man.
How we doing?
Good, thanks. Yeah,
I'm in.
Anyway, the Scottish Mayor says, even if Frank George, JK, hope all as well, the Reds need ready-made players. We have enough project players. He's spot on there.
Yeah.
He's so spot on.
Yeah.
Good shout, that. They're all good shouts, to be honest.
Evening.
And Chris is answering to Jeff Ellison. Jeff Ellison is right. A player has a good season, and the clamour is massive before they have proven themselves long enough at the highest level. Spot on. It's another very good point. And John Ross, it's my birthday. I'm 35.
Happy birthday.
Birthday, mate.
I'm 35.
He's only half my age.
Exactly. It's just like he's an old
Plus
man
10
already.
years.
I think it's
I thought you were going to say, you hear it again at the end of it.
When I was 35, I could have ran to the moon.
That's the way he said it. There's still like Jürgen's gone and of age, double his age, if you know what I mean. Maybe he's only 15.
Right in your prime, John.
Right in the prime, yeah.
That's a cracker, that. I love that. And great point, that Frank Paisley said that he can only be himself, not another Shankly. And you and George can explain how both men were such different people, but they were both winners.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, it's only what I said before. We don't want a copy. We don't want a clone of Jurgen Klopp's personality. He's got to be his own man. If he comes out and starts going like that to players, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, he can't do that.
That's it. He's trying to be Klopp.
Got to be his own man from day one. His own man, his own personality, his own style, and he'd be judged on that, not on what Klopp was doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Spot on. Absolutely. And Norman says, Herbert Lom's mother was called Olga. Olga Lom.
Olga Lom. Olga Lom together.
Herbert Charles, Anglo, Kutushevich, Z. I'll piss off. I'm not saying that.
Shula Pakro.
No professionally as Herbert Lom.
Imagine commentating on him.
No.
That's insanity coming on here. Trying to say all these mad words. It's heat and fallout. And was a British-born Czech-British actor with a career spanning over 60 years. Good luck pronouncing that, Frank.
Yeah, made some good films.
I thought he was a great actor. Did you ever see him in that? Oh, here we go.
A bit sinister. He was a bit sinister, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was always sinister.
Yeah.
And he was in a cracking little film with John Mills. And John Mills, he's got a girlfriend, and the girlfriend ends up getting murdered. And something happened. No, I think it was his son's girl, something like that. And she ends up getting murdered, and they blame James May. No, he gets murdered, Herbert the Lom. He gets murdered because he was a villain. And they blame, you can't blame Dickie Darling, can you? You can't blame little John Mills for being a murderer. Anyway, he got away with it. But it was a cracking little mad film.
Well, he had a simple name, John Mills, didn't he?
Yes, very simple. I'm glad that's on it. He hasn't come out with another name for him. Our Romanian friends. Good evening, guys, says Ali Noose all the way from
Romania, is it?
Even Ali.
Hi.
Yeah, look, me mum, Olga, shouted at me and Herbert in for our goulash every Friday night. Called us in for our goulash. We used to always get called up for our tea and toast, playing football in the square with our community. Frances, your tea and toast is ready. Okay. Used to run off for our tea and toast, then run back down and start playing football again. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So listen, lads. I was looking at. I like Alex Gilday, his pod, Cop TV Talk or something. I don't know what it's called. Because there's that many that I've noticed there's a few cop things now. I don't know why they say the cop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is just Liverpool.
Yeah.
FC.Liverpool. This is just this. Anyway, he asked a question. Well, I asked a question really. Who's your main players that you would like to keep or slots you keep? And I want to ask you. I know we've done it before, but you know we've got new people on here. So I'm going to ask you, JK. Then I'm going to end with you, George, if you don't mind. You know, there's Darryl after JK. Who's your main players that is a must to stay?
I've got Alisson, Van Dijk, Trent, Salah as the main guy, and Darwin as well. Yeah, got to keep Darwin.
Okay.
We see how we sort of. I think Darwin is the one guy who probably he needs to play in a team that don't have a lot of possession. I believe, you know, like who can counter attack. When we've got possession, you don't know how to sort of work with that sometimes. But as you've seen against Newcastle, big pitch, a lot of land to run into. Boom, he scored 2 goals. So for me, keeping Darwin is a must as well. I just feel could be a big season for him next season. Well, I hope so, you know. But everyone else, like we've got the front 5 there. I'm keeping all of them. You know, I think as we keep going on about the DM position, if we had a DM, we wouldn't let that many goals in. And our attackers, we were always scoring goals, you know. Against Everton, we didn't. But all in all, I need to keep that sort of spine of the team still there.
Okay. What about you, Darryl?
For me, it's Van Dijk, Alisson, and Trent. They're the 3 must keep. Obviously, you got McAllister, who's going to stay anyway. He's player of the year, but they're the 3 for me: Alisson, Van Dijk, Trent.
Okay, George.
Well, I mean, I'll say right up front, I think I'd like to see us keep every one of them, to be perfectly honest, because I think we should keep every one of them that are there now and build on top of that. But certainly the key ones is, like Steve Evans has said on the notes there below the screen, Ali, Trent, Virgil, Maka, Salah and Nunes, and also that Jota and Elliott, because he's been playing well, Elliott, and Jota is a goal scorer, providing he can keep clear of injury. Funny enough, you know, our most consistent player in the last 7 years has been getting the most stick recently. Because I've seen on social media quite a lot of stick going towards Mo Salah. And I can't really understand it because I know he's not been at his 100% best this last year, but he's still scored 18 goals and 10 assists. And he's a top goal scorer every single year. I don't know what people expect any more from him. You know, and I just think he's a genius. And people have got short memories of what he's achieved at this club. And I don't want to see him leave. I know it's a bit political at the moment because he could leave now and we get a lot of money for him. Or he could leave at the end of the season and we don't get anything for him because he'd be on a free transfer. So I would like to see him sign a new contract because I don't think he's by any means finished. He's only 31. No. In his fitness, he could go on to his 37, 38. Maybe not at the highest level like he has been at his best, but huge asset to the club. So I don't want to see any of them go, Frank, to be honest. You know, I don't see why. We've got a good team. We finished 3rd in the league. We won a trophy. It's a bit of a transition season. And we've got a lot of young lads coming through. So there's a lot to be optimistic about, but it's up to whether this guy's slot can wield it together and move it forward. And these characters behind the scenes, I hope they don't get too involved because I don't think they know too much about football. They know more about business and data and all that stuff. So I like to see us build on what we've got.
I don't like that data. I really don't like it. And as
I'm old-fashioned. I've no.
It's what you see. It's what you see, not data-based.
Kenny Dalglish didn't need data. Ian Rush didn't need data.
No.
Michael Owen, Robbie Fowler, all the greats, Suarez. I mean, they just played naturally as it came to them. You've got to have tactics, you've got to have planning, but overdoing the data bit leaves me cold.
I always remember, George, going up the game. We were playing Fulham when Ian Rush just signed, and I was with James Allen, great mate of mine. Anyway, we're walking up, and because I only lived in the Jeddah Gardens, and we just walked up there, And we were walking up, and he said, "I don't like this Rush, I don't like him." I said, "Why?" I said, "You haven't even seen him." He said, "I don't like him. Don't like his name either, Rush." He scored 5 against them. And I said, "What did you think?" And he went, "And he's all right, isn't he? Coming out. And he's all right, isn't he?" And, it's amazing. It's amazing what some people say. I don't like this stuff, really. But as Norman said, keep Virgil, Alisson, leaders. As for Salah, if we get a stupid offer, I can see the sense in selling only because that would be the only way we buy a DM. I'm not being funny, Norman. If we're not going after a DM, and if we did sell Salah, that would go on a DM. That will not go on a DM. I'm telling you now.
And you won't get a better player than Salah coming in.
And as hang on, where did I go? I think the Scottish Bear was it. Oh. Scottish Bear, says Chris Dix, it is madness to sell Kelleher. Proves this last season. He could be our top keeper for another 10 years. I'm not even worried about Trent. No way are we selling him this summer. And Chris says, I don't see that we should sell anyone except John Henry.
Hey, Frank, did you see that picture of Trent at Monte Carlo, at the Monte Carlo Grand Prix, with a pair of big white trousers and braces on and glasses?
Yeah. You look like a painter or a Rick
Oh my God.
I thought he was he was one of the like Gap Painting Services who's sponsored by Monday Night Show.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he was a painter.
The white town man.
Yeah.
He is young.
Can you imagine him saying 500 for the lot, like for the whole house? I'll pay it for you. Come on,
man. Excuse me. David Lom's brother says, I think we probably need a keeper, centre-back, and obviously a DM and a winger if Diaz goes. Absolutely. But we don't want that Somerville. And, everyone's saying it, George, about...
I'll tell you who's been forgotten a bit, Frank, who's been forgotten, young Doak. He's been picked for Scotland in the Euros.
Yeah, he's been picked for Scotland,
he's a fantastic player, and he's been out of the picture, like Bacek, I forget, I can't pronounce his name, been out of the picture, same as him last season, but he could come good next season.
Well, the thing is, you see, George, with young Doak, we compared him when he was playing, by the way. We compared him with Jimmy Johnson.
He's dynamic. Yeah, he goes for the fullback.
And the lad is a kid.
Exactly.
I just feel, Frank, that I think that we're just getting ready for they're going to start playing Stefan Bajcetic straight away. And I think that's wrong because he can get injured straight away next year.
You'll have a pre-season money, Darryl. You have a long pre-season to, proper.
He's going to be the DM, George.
Yeah.
This is the problem we've got. It's like what Ali says, our Romanian lad. And he says the Salah problem is that he is 32 and he's got 1 year left of his contract. If we will not sell him now, we probably lose 100 million.
Yeah,
money for Antonio Silva, maybe. But the point is, you've only got to give him a contract. A year's contract. And not a year's contract, but a couple of years' contract. And then sell him next year. What's wrong with that? It's as simple as that. So you'll get money for him one way or the other. And Yusuf says, K-Mac loves the data, Frank. Of course he does.
Yeah, that's his scene, isn't it? He loves the data. Nothing wrong with that, to be honest,
Youssef says, trust the data. Don't think so. Dorothy, thinking back to the Shankly time onward, the immense number of coaches, personnel, etc. in the back room now seems phenomenal. How many people do they need to run the club? Their wage bill must be enormous. I've always thought that, there's loads of them, isn't there?
Psychologists, throw-in coaches, all sorts.
It's what you were saying about. It's what you were saying before, George. About Batatic and Young Doe. Now, and if Batatic breaks down again, we are back to square one. We must sign a DM. I said that on this on Alex Gilday's post this morning. I said at the top, because he says, what's the priority or whatever, for the slot coming in. And I said his priority is a DM, a top quality DM for next season. That's what we need.
Yeah.
That the lads who was with him, the Stoyley lads, he totally agreed. He said, that's my sentiments entirely. We've got to get, and then everyone's saying, everybody's saying we need, like Norman, if we sold Salah, would need a DM and sell a replacement. I'd like to keep Salah and buy a DM, but I don't trust the owners. Anyway, as Chris says there. Anyway, Mo is big enough to decide to stay, or go. And he is big enough to do that as well. Dorothy has a point, says Chris. I am sure they can give players. Sorry there. Dorothy has a point. I'm sure they can give players 100 reasons for pulling out of a game. Too much in their heads. Yeah, there is too much. So listen, lads, okay, they're the prime players that we need, but we've got to keep them together. And my problem is with this Euros, the Euros, how many will go? Do you remember last season, the season before, I'm sorry, when we were going after the quadruple and our legs just went because of the intensity. And it looks like Slot has the same principles, high intensity, the way, you've got to keep running everywhere and up and down and inside out or whatever, keep the pressure on all the time. And with the Euros coming up, and we're in being a new coach and new tactics, I think it's going to be difficult, I really do. It's going to be another transition. We didn't need another transition, and this is what I've said all along. If Jürgen wasn't leaving, Jürgen would only need 2 players because he knows his squad. He knows what to expect from them. And with 2 new players, one would have been a DM for sure, and I think a left-sided centre-back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think they were priority. But he's left, and I think we're going to go into another transition, which we don't really need, especially with being in the Champions League. Yeah. And I know that I don't like saying this myself, but I said last season, I'm sure someone's at my door. I'm sorry there, boys, can you just chat?
What I don't like, George, for the full factors, I don't like it why Liverpool let their players run down their contracts. I think it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Emre Can, Gini Wijnaldum, both left on 3 deals. You've got 3 players entering 18 months of their deals who are massive for us, and we could lose them for nothing next year. It's mad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you look at Chelsea. Chelsea is signing players on 8-year contracts. That's the other side of the equation.
Yeah.
You're right,
Madness.
Darryl. You're right. I agree with you there. I agree with you. I mean, it's crazy when you got people worth 50, 60 million leaving on free transfers, and all the money goes straight into their pocket and the agent.
Well, would you agree with this, lads? I think it's a cracking shout. Loan young Stefan Batičić and bring in a quality DM.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you agree with that, JK?
Yeah. If Klopp was still here, then I would want him to stay to work with Klopp. But for me, he's at that age now where he needs to be playing regular football. Can you see him playing every game next season for Liverpool? I cannot. So for me, a championship side, a good one in the maybe I don't know, even Leeds or someone like that. But he needs to get ready for the next season. If he stays or he goes on loan. I think he's one of him and Doak were the names that everyone was hyping a lot. And last season was really bad for a pair of them, like Doak getting injured was like
Yeah.
bang. One day he was sound. He was sort of maybe I think we would have seen a lot more of Doak if he was fit last season.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I'm sort of excited to see what sort of game he can bring if he can stay fit. And Bajcetic for me, what I've seen of him, his quality. He was sort of on the subs bench at the end of the season quite a bit, so he should be getting fit now, like just training, getting ready for next season.
Well, he's in the squad. He's in the Scottish squad for the Euros.
Dope, yeah?
So
Yeah.
he's bound to be playing over there, I would think.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, Chris says he's answering Scottish Bear, who said, we should put him out on loan. I rate Stefan B highly, and coaching staff did too. Coaching staff did, because they've gone now, did too. I wouldn't loan him out, but I also would expect him to be a sole solution. Would expect him to be a sole solution with 4 comps. See,
We're going to have more games in the European Cup as well. We've got 8 games rather than 6 now.
exactly.
So it's going to be a heavy load on these players on top of the league, the League Cup and the FA Cup, the Euros. We need to use the squad wisely.
And this is going back to an old argument, and it's looking really at the owners. And Norman says we won the 2019 European Cup and had a chance to really enforce our strength. We bought Adrian and Van der Beek. Adrian cost us the 2020 European Cup versus Atletico. We could have retained the trophy.
Bang on.
Yeah.
So right, And he carries on by saying, if our owners had supported Klopp more that summer. Well, we've said that loads of times, haven't we, JK?
Yeah. I think that just showed us fans what they're all about. Not going the extra yard again to sort of separate ourselves from Arsenal United so they couldn't catch us. We end up getting Van der Beek and Adrian in. Come on, ridiculous. All of us were expecting big names, The comment before about buying project players, you get to a point where sometimes you get sort of sick of that. You just want an established player to come in and straight away hit the ground running, I think McAllister was sort of a player, and Thiago and McAllister, for example, they were sort of established players when we got them.
Yeah.
But everyone else, not really,
See, and what people, fans as well, are missing out on is, they're not saying it, is this. Slot is no Klopp for moulding players. I don't care what anyone says. Klopp did it in the hardest league in the world, the Premier League. He did it with the players. You've only got to look at Robertson. And I'm going to say to you, George, I'm going to say to you, Robertson, I forget who it was, who was it? I forget who it was. And he said to me, when Robertson, was relegated, he said, do you know what? He said, he was always found up at the other end. And he's scoring goals where his position was. Right, that's one of the reasons why we were relegated. This is what the lad said. And this is one of the reasons why. And you've bought him. Now, I'm going to ask you, George, and I more or less what was your thinking buying a player, and we needed a left back at the time, for £8 million. He was relegated with his club, coming to Liverpool. What was your first thoughts?
Well, I mean, I knew about Robinson through his Scottish history, but 8 million is peanuts, isn't it? It's peanuts.
Yeah.
It just proves what Klopp did with him, how he developed him into a world-class international fullback, captain of his country, and one of the greatest provider of crosses in Premier League history, along with Trent.
That's what I'm saying. This Mr. Slot, he's not. I don't think he's like that. He's not a Klopp.
No.
And because he made great play, as you said about Robertson, he made him from a relegated player into a European Cup winners, World Cup winners, player. The vast distance from being relegated to being up there at the pinnacle of winning a European Cup, in the Champions League, and then a World Club Cup. You couldn't make that script up. It's like running the Rovers sort of thing.
The team's littered with players that Jurgen's made better. Almost all of them have come to the club and he's made them better.
Of course.
Pushed them forward,
Absolutely.
Another one.
What do you think of there? I've seen someone there before. I'm sorry, I can't get it down. Carlyle. Do you think Carlyle will come back? I just don't know. I'll go to you. Sorry, I'll leave it at the end with you, George.
Okay.
I'll go to you. Go on. No, carry on, George. Go on.
No, I was just going to say Carvalho's a talented player. He struck me as being a very talented player. He was good on the ball. He just didn't seem to get his chance. So a lot of other players just kept him out of the team, but he seems to have blossomed up at Hull City. Scored some good goals, good reputation, good reports. So they may bring him back and see whether they can resurrect his career at Anfield, be another addition to the midfield. I don't know. And if Bišćetik does go out on loan, we've got an extra player coming in, but of course he's a different player from Bišćetik because he's a forward attacking player, Carvalho. He may be more mature now. Maybe like a lot of these players go to these clubs like Blackburn and like Harvey Elliott did, and Hull City and others, and they develop. They get battle hardened because they're playing first team football. It's a big difference, Frank, playing first team football in the Championship than playing in the Kirby Academy in the under-18s.
Absolutely.
No comparison. You're playing in front of a big crowd and you're playing with something meaningful, and you're learning your game, learning your trade. And if you've got the talent, you come back to Liverpool playing with better players and you blossom.
Exactly. I remember the winner he scored in the last minute against Newcastle at Anfield.
Yeah.
A volley.
A
volley. It was a crack. You gave the goalie no chance, and I thought this lad's good. Well, I even seen him playing for Fulham, but Fulham were in the Championship, and I thought he's good, this kid. He's good, this kid, and I was made up that we got him. For the new season start. And even Fulham were promoted, and he got them there as well. And, I just don't know what happened with the lad, to be honest. But
No, strange.
Go on.
It was
It is
strange.
strange. It is strange. I'll go to you, Darryl. What's your take on Carvalho?
I just got a feeling that he'll go back on loan again next season. You got similar player in Harvey Elliott. Don't want too many kind of similar players. I think Harvey's nailed on to be in that team next year. To be honest, I don't get me wrong. He's talented, but I don't think he's a Liverpool player. If you ask me, I just don't see it.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I just think we need to be getting world class players in now, and but whether it will
we're
happen,
not.
no,
That's the problem, Darryl.
yeah, we're not.
We're not. We are not.
Got a sale to buy.
And as I said, I was watching some posts today, some pod, and we'll be getting players, but we won't be getting all these world class players. We'll be getting. We've got to buy. We have to buy. We pay the money. You've got to pay the money for these players. It's no use skirting around the bargain basement. Ali, you said it before, or you said. It's no use going into the bargain basement. We've had all that before. We've had it all before. We need to buy big. J.K. Carvalho.
Yeah, just quickly, what you were saying there, has Slot got the pulling power that Klopp had?
I said that on that post.
Yeah,
I said it.
exactly. And for me, that's why Klopp got them players, Mane, Salah, to come to the club, Even Thiago. I don't think Thiago would have come if Klopp wasn't there. So, even Virgil, maybe. But for me, Carvalho, if his attitude, see what it is with a lot of players is, especially a lot of players from London who grew up in London, for example, they have a lot of attitude with them. And you know what Klopp's like. If you've got attitude, he's not going to play you. Because Klopp views you as family. So the respect should be there. And I think Carvalho sort of probably thought he's going to get more game time. But when he scored against Newcastle, he was getting game time. So something must have happened maybe in training or something for Klopp to tell him, you know what, lad, sort your attitude out or whatever it was, Personalities clash. I understand that, don't get me wrong. But I think Klopp's a fair guy, If your attitude's right, he's going to give you a chance.
Yeah. Agree.
Norman says Martin Zubimendi is a very good DM, plays for Real Sociedad, aged 25.
Yeah, his name's getting mentioned.
Because there's talk of Endo leaving, though, hasn't there? He's homesick.
Yeah.
He's homesick. Point is, I think that's a lot to do with Jürgen leaving, to be honest.
Yes, psychologically, it's a big hit, Frank.
Yeah.
Do you know what I think? Frank? This is me personally. If Curtis Jones wasn't a Scouser, he'd be one of them up for sale in the summer.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. I think you're right. And lots of people don't like Curtis for some reason. I don't know why.
I think
he's a very good player.
Curtis hasn't really started his career. If you really look at it, stop, start.
Yeah.
Before he got injured this season, he was sort of playing well, and then bang.
He's playing great, yeah.
Yeah. So I've never him and Diaz are not my two favourite Liverpool players, but I've seen in them players who can play football. I think Curtis, he gets a lot of sort of mixed sort of fans love him or don't like him. It's one of the two, It's like I think they want to see more from him. That's what it is. I think we've seen Curtis on the scene for a long time now. He's also on low wages. I think about 15 grand. I've heard.
Probably is.
So maybe that's sort of winding him up. Him and Diaz, that's mad. Two guys they're not my favourites, but both of them get very low wages when you look at it. So for me,
Yeah.
Curtis should have been tied up to a better deal. Come on, he's been long enough here with us. Give him a good deal. Let him play football.
Hey, it'd be interesting to see where the Slot plays Trent, whether he plays him at right back or he lets him continue with this inverted role. Because young Bradley's there as well, and he looked really good when he came in. I don't know what's best there. Interesting to see what they do.
Bradley to me is brilliant. He gets stuck in,
dynamic, brilliant.
He gets stuck in, and that's what we need. Like Robertson got stuck in, didn't he? You know what I mean? He always got stuck in. Anyway,
young Dans, this must be a breakthrough season for him.
I think he's brilliant, that kid.
I mean, he hasn't really had a chance really since he broke through in the Carabao Cup. We haven't seen him. He played in Notts Forest, got injured, and that was it. So I hope he doesn't get forgotten. I think he looks to me like he's got it.
I hope he's not forgotten, to be honest, because I really he's got great potential, that lad. You can see it. You can see it in him. Yeah. He's really, really good. And he can pass a ball as well, by the way. He's not just a goal scorer, he can pass a ball. I think he's brilliant. And Ali News says, do you agree with this? Our problem is that we have a lot of players with similar value. And they all want to play. Look at our middle. Elliott, Szoboszlai, Jones, McAllister, Endo, Ryan, Gravenberch, that is, and Stefan Matic. They are very close as value. What do you think, George?
Yeah, well, there's no comparison between our bench now than there was 2 years ago. No. I mean, we can play two teams now virtually.
Yeah.
With the players we've got, and then that's looking at that list. It's not a bad list, is it? Really?
It's a great list. Well, that's what I said before. If Jürgen was still with us, he'd have only needed two players. He would have kept the squad. The likes of Thiago, Matip, they were gone anyway. They were gone. And he only needed two players. That's what he would have brought in. And kept the nucleus of the squad, like the likes of those lads. Because he sees these young kids who, gets mentioned and, plays, he sees their great potential, Jürgen. Now, we've got a new manager coming in, and we can't just beat about the bush and say, everything's going to be all right, because it's not. Because we're going to go into a transition period. He's going to say to Ward and Edwards, listen, this is what I need. This is what I need. And whether they're going to say okay or say no, this is what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So, no matter how we're going to look at it, we're going to go into a transition period, especially with new tactics. It's no use saying, he's got tactics similar to Jürgen. It's no use saying that. New tactics are new tactics. Sorry, go ahead, George.
He's got a whole new coaching team, completely new coaching squad. Even right down the line, they're all different. So the players are going to have to get used to that, get used to their methods, get to know them, get to be confident in them, build a relationship. So there's bound to be a little teething problems at the start, I would think.
Of course. And you've got a new physio as well. Physio's coming in. So
the man in charge of injuries, he didn't do very well, did he, in my book? Because if his job is to stop them getting injured, he failed abysmally. So he needed replacing.
Yeah. But, no matter how you look at it, it's a whole new structure. And we're just looking at the structure from the director of football and whatever, right through to the scouting system. Not only that, but also everything, the backroom staff, including the coach. And the players haven't even been touched yet, if you know what I mean.
And everything we're hearing is second-hand, Frank, isn't it? Everything we're hearing is second-hand. Nothing's come out from the club. Nothing's been explained what his tactics are going to be. He hasn't spoke to the fans yet. He hasn't had an interview yet. He hasn't had his, like Jurgen had his first press conference when he said so famously, "I am the normal one." Well, Slot's going to have a press conference, and he's going to have to come over well in that and then back up his words with actions.
Norman says, I don't know if Enzo was leaving. I'd keep him, but he should be DM understudy to a top defensive mid. And that's what I've said all along. You know, JK, you've always said this. We needed a DM, you and I both, to be honest. We've always needed a DM, right? And with the likes of Enzo going to, the South Asia Games or wherever he went, around the Japanese thing, and playing there, and we never had a DM. You've always said that we needed one in the January to replace Enzo, even when he comes back, in case he got injured. And this was the scenario, wasn't it? Really, and he did get injured, and then McAllister had to play in that position. And as I said, someone said today on a pod, play McAllister there. McAllister's too slow for that there position. He's too slow. He can't get back. Whereas you had the likes of Mascherano, he was away. He chased him. He chased him down until he got that ball, or he fouled. That's what you call a great TM.
Fantastic.
McAllister can't do that. McAllister can't do that.
No,
McAllister's good. Go on, George.
He's a forward attacking player, McAllister. He makes the passes go forward, creates the chances. That's his role. Really.
And he can
get stuck in, McAllister. Like when you see him play, he gets stuck in. Like,
of course,
he does.
I'll tell you now, boys. If I'm going into this new season, I'm playing Conor Bradley at right back. I'm getting a new DM. I'm playing McAllister and Trent in front, and then front three. That's what I'll be playing every time.
Yeah, but for me, I need to see Trent now sort his football career out. Poor season, like attitude, not bothered sort of attitude. Then the stories come along. Is he going to Real Madrid? Like, he's vice captain of Liverpool. That should be enough for him to have the right attitude. I feel that sometimes when you get injured, players take time to get back into their game because of getting scared they might get injured again. And I think a lot of our players had that sort of going on. And I think Trent had that. He came back, got injured again, was out again for a few weeks.
He needs to take a lesson from Stevie G. The way Stevie G played. He played the same every game, 100%. And Trent, I'm not so sure Trent's been at that level in the last 5-6 weeks. He's been strolling around a bit for me.
Exactly what I said, George.
Time with the film stars and then Monte Carlo and all this stuff. Get stuck into your football. That's my advice. He's a brilliant player.
Yeah, I said that. He needs a bit of what Gerrard had. He needs that in his football. He needs it now. That little ignition where no one's going to beat him. Trent don't show that enough for me. He's on good wages. Should he play for England? That's the question now. Like, will he play for England in the summer now? I don't think so. So he'll be stropping on the bench. Probably be a bit stroppy about it, I just hope Trent sorts his football career out again. Like he's done what he's done, but now's the next step now.
There's nobody can pass a ball better than him, but he gets beaten too easily by the winger.
Yeah, defensively shocking.
There's some good comments on here, to be honest. And Ali Lou says, to be honest, when I think about our middle, I pick Maka, and after that, I don't know who to pick next.
Yeah, I agree.
We've been like that, haven't we? Like throughout the season, we've been saying, when we go back to the back, who's your back four, and it's always difficult picking
the midfield.
It is
very difficult. Very difficult. And we all know that Szoboszlai went through a terrible time, personal, personal. He just went through a bad time. And we all can relate to what he was going through.
Yeah.
Years ago, a defensive mid could also play like Souness and McMahon. Nowadays, the way modern day football is, you just sit and clean up. That's what Enzo was good at. He just sat there. I think that's a good show. I think that's a great show. And he agrees, Chris. Yeah, but one, Rodri, arguably, I agree. But we know that Fenway won't spend on the best. That's why I feel we need a different form of tactics. I can show the lads how to kick the opponent. Just kick them, yeah. Or maybe Enzo and go on.
Those were the days. You can't kick the opponents now. You can't touch him. Go down. Flick of a toe, they go down.
I always remember Tommy Smith and that Steve Kinson and Burnley.
Yeah.
And I never forget. And I was sitting in there, which is now the Kenny Dalglish stands, and I always hated, like being more or less on the pitch, right in the front. And this fella went past. Steve Kinson went past. I think it was, I forget who it was left by. I forget who it was. And Tommy Smith came over. Oh, what? Not like that. Swelled over. Steve Kinson never went near him again, Stephen, because he was a good player, Steve. That Kinson lad.
Kinson, yeah, he was quick. Yeah.
Very quick.
Tommy got him.
Just nuts. But we should strike as soon as possible for a DM. See, everybody's saying about a DM.
Yep.
Because the one we want is at the Euros and and he's spot on there. That's what I was going to say. Do you think like with the Euros, do you think that prices will go up?
That's when a lot of business will be done. A lot of talking between the players, between agents. Euros.
Well, when I first started, someone mentioned about I don't know, a couple of players or whatever. That's Somerville, and I said he's a championship player, and you can't go on, a couple of good games that he had against us or scoring against us. And the problem with, I go back to Phil Babb, I go back to Salif Diao, I go back to Diouf, I go back to Bruno Cheru. These lads, Talak.
Yeah, no wonder we didn't win the Premier League for 30 years.
Cinema Pongoli, especially that Bruno Cheru. He scored a cracker, but it wasn't against us, it was against Man United. And we bought him on the premise of that. Yeah. Which is absolutely ridiculous. And those other players I mentioned on the premise of having a good World Cup, especially Diouf and Salif Diao and Phil Babb over in America playing for the Republic of Ireland. He had a good World Cup. And, they weren't players for us. They weren't. We were trying to build ourselves up and, get up there again. Yeah. And we were just failing because of, I'm not saying poor players, but players that weren't at the level that we needed. And I hope this isn't going to happen again. I just hope it's not going to happen.
Yeah. It's got to be the right players as well, Frank. The right players with the right character. I mean, those lads up the East Lancs Road, they made some right ghoulies, spending 90 million on one player and 100 million another player. People like Mason Mount and Pogba and the other guy, the little Brazilian, Harley played, Martial and all that. I mean, you've got to. It doesn't matter the money you spend; it's the right player. It fits into the team, the culture of the club.
Look at this one, Ali Noose. We can play 2-7-1 and everyone will be happy.
No, if there one's Nunes.
And Norman says, remember Nunes' goal versus West Ham from a cross from Robertson? Maybe Trent doing it from the right mid would also help Nunes.
Yes.
Do you think, I'll go to you, and I'm going to end with you, George. I'll go to you, JK. Do you think Nunes will be staying? Do you think Slot will keep him? Or Edwards or Ward, whoever's done it, who's in charge?
For me, out the attackers, I think Diaz and Salah are probably in front of Nunes if they're going to leave. But for me personally, I just like Darwin's energy, just what he could be, you know. I think some footballers, like football fans nowadays, they've got no patience. Okay, he's been with us 2 seasons, but Suarez' first 2 seasons, not the top, but later on he got real good, you know. So I know he's a different human being altogether, but sometimes players take time. And this is what I'm thinking, like this season could be Darwin's season, you know. But for me, I don't want to put no pressure on him, you know. I think fans at the end of the season going on social media and sort of having a go at him and stuff. Come on. Which real Liverpool fan does that, you know? Is this the modern day Liverpool fan going on social media and sort of shouting at the players and stuff, you know? Madness. So for me, Darwin has to stay. Darwin has to stay.
I'm sorry, but it's like one of the lads there who said, when's okay and everybody was made up, now we can't wait to get rid of them. So they're on different pods, getting rid of Endo. And if we're not getting a defensive mid, where does that leave us? It leaves us wide open.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Darryl, Nunes.
I probably think he'll stay because Slot wants a chance to work with him. Hopefully he'll have a great season and score 25 goals. That's what all us Liverpool fans are hoping for. But Diaz, I just think his dad needs to shut his mouth a little bit because his dad's been nothing but vocal ever since he got released from whoever captured him. So, yeah, I think Darwin will stay, but this will be his final season if it doesn't come good.
Okay. No, that's a good shout, George.
Yeah, I agree. I do hope he stays. I think he will. I mean, he scored how many goals he scored this season? 10, 12 or something, maybe more. He could have doubled that. Chances he's had, he could have doubled that. He could have easily been on 22, 24 goals this season. And he gets in the right place to score. So maybe this season, a lot more of them will go in rather than hit the bar and go over the bar. So fingers crossed, he hits the target more often. He's a wonderful, hard-working striker. I do like him. I like the way he puts himself about for the team. Never stops. And he's a completely different player to Jota. In his style. But he's entertaining. And he just needs to finish sharper in front of goal. I think we all think that.
Well, I said, didn't I? It's only what you said that just a couple of seconds ago. And I said this on a few occasions, after the games, and we've been discussing the games, albeit that he's missed or hit the bar and posted whatever. I think he hit the bar. I think he hit the Woodsworth more so than anybody else in the Premiership by a long shot, by the way. And I said, but he's in the right place at the right time.
That's right.
How many strikers are that, were doing that? How many? And he wasn't really an out-and-out striker at the time as well. And what gets me, you can see that, look at the goals he's got. Look at that goal he scored against Real Madrid that time. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he scores 1 or 2 more like that, so it wasn't a one-off. And the 2 goals he scored against Newcastle when he was away and put them in the corner. Look at the chip. Was it against Bournemouth?
Fulham, one as well.
Unbelievable. You know, they're great goals, and that's his potential. That's what he can do, if you know what I mean.
It's a
Do you
really
know,
difficult position to play, Frank, isn't it? Up front striker, very difficult. Not easy to create chances. You've got to know what you're doing. What he needs to do is just be very careful with the offside. Just time his run a bit short because he's got the pace. Give himself a bit more time. He'll still get there. And I think that's one of the coach's jobs to make sure next year he just keeps onside a bit more because he's been offside quite a lot.
Yes, yes, and that's the shame, and it's only been a fraction as well.
Action, yeah, Antonio.
But if he can hold his line, you know, be lethal. Lethal, no matter who's coach, he could be lethal, if you know what I mean. And you can't really control him because remember when they called him Captain Chaos?
Yeah.
And he did cause chaos in the opposition. That's what I mean about Diaz and Salah.
Yeah, he's the same.
You know,
yeah.
you see Diaz and he gets the ball and he's away. And he can beat plays, by the way. And he scored some terrific goals. This is what people tend to forget as well. He scored some great goals as little Lucho. He scored some cracking goals. And, you know, so he does relieve the defence. And I think we should keep him anyway. I hope he doesn't go. I really hope he doesn't go. I'd keep all our forwards. We don't need anybody. No, we don't need anybody. And especially with Jota fit as well.
Yeah.
You've got Diaz there. You've got Mo Salah. Mo Salah will be fit.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to any Euros or anything like that.
You got Gakpo, you got Dork.
You know, so it's just a DM I'm worried about on the left side and centre back. But we've got to keep, you know, the nucleus of the side. We can't get rid of it. I think Joe Gomez will go.
Could be right there, yeah. I'm hearing rumours about that.
Yeah, I think he'll go. Because
they get money for him as well. They get good money for him.
Yeah, Simicast. Did you hear about? Did you hear about what Sepp Vandenberg's been valued at today?
20 million or 5 million.
What, 20 million?
Who's that, Darryl?
Sepp Vandenberg, 20 million. Their valuation.
See, look, Rich Slot coming in, he's Dutch. And do you think that, I don't like saying this, but do you think like he can improve? Oh, yes, he's Dutch. Do you think that he can improve Gravenberg and even make Gakpo a better player? Don't forget they're Dutch.
Yeah, they'll have a better knowledge of him, won't they? They'll know a bit more about him. They might have a bit more of a relationship with him as well. But whether you make him a better player, I don't think you make him a better player than Klopp did.
That's what I mean about some, some fans that say, well, he's Dutch and, we'll make them better. Hang on a minute. It's just because they're Dutch doesn't mean to say that, they're going to make any better players out of them. He's not a Klopp-type manager, coach. Keep calling him manager. He's not a Klopp-type coach. I don't think he can mould anybody myself, not like Klopp anyway, into better players. And I think young Gakpo, struggled. I felt sorry for him when especially I was right above the tunnel when we played Southampton in the cup game, and he was awful. I was watching him and he was awful. And when he come off, he had a smile. He had a smile and he was congratulating the other lads, because we beat them. And I thought, I feel sorry for you, lad, because He had such a bad game, and yet he had that little smile on his face. But
He come good towards the end of the season.
he came good towards the end of the season. Yes, he did. He certainly did come good. And what about this? Ali Noose, Trent for sure is one of our most skilled players, but he was never a defender and never will be. Trent had too much to prove as a midfielder than a defender. What do you think of that, George?
Well, what's Sally saying there? Is he saying that he's neither one thing nor the other? He says
He's saying he's never a defender. He's more of a midfielder.
because he's saying he's more of a midfielder.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think I agree with that, definitely, because that's where his skill is, creating long passes, threading balls through the middle, scoring long-range shots, free kicks. He's much, much more an attacking player than a defender. He's not a defender. I mean, Bradley's a defender.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean about Bradley. This is what we were saying before, weren't we? At least Bradley gets stuck in. He tackles. It's very rare that you see Trent tackle. He runs back, but he hardly tackles.
I've never seen him do a slide tackle. Like, do players slide tackle anymore? It's like, come on. Look, as a right back, the left winger is trying to skin you. You got a perfect chance now to do a slide tackle. Like, get stuck in, lad. Football's changed so much, George, like from your time and to now, the players are a bit more mentally tougher them days, maybe not so lackluster in their effort, wages, not the greatest, but you still put a shift in. This new generation of footballers getting crazy money, crazy money. Most of these guys can't handle it. And what happens? Their football career goes down the pan. And I think no one really talks about the effect of paying young players big contracts. Their life changes, like from a 15-year-old who probably got pocket money to a 17-year-old who's getting like 20 grand a week, for example. Yeah. So for me, football has sort of ruined money has ruined football in that way. I believe, like when you look at Diaz, if he's taking 25 grand a week home, and Trent's taking how much? 140? Something like that? Yeah. Look at Diaz's effort and look at Trent's. Different world. You think Diaz
that should never be allowed. That should never be allowed. I mean, somebody's made a right goolie there if they've allowed that to happen.
Yeah. Well, that's what we watched before. That's what. Yeah, let me go. There's 3 comments here. Let me go through them. Darwin is only 25. Still not at his peak. A tad more focus and he will score enough, says Chris Tiggs.
Bang on.
Scottish Bear says, let me go through these other 2. Nunez lacks composure. You can't teach that in game time. And Ali says our self-made fans did that to him, and after he deleted his photos, they came back to bring more hate because of that. Trollers at their best. What do you think of those 3 comments there? I think they're powerful. Discuss them. I'm going to get a drink.
Okay, Frank. Yeah. Well, that one there, that last one. I mean, I think it was disgraceful the way that Nunez was targeted by internet trolls. It's one of the worst part of modern football, the internet, and especially Twitter X, whatever it's called these days. I mean, because it's keyboard warriors. They haven't got to justify themselves. They can say whatever they want. A lot of them have got no idea about football, no idea about the inside of football, the pressures of the game on these young lads. I know they're getting paid bucket loads of money, but with that money comes responsibility, and they've got to be responsible in what they do in their private life. In the old days, you could go down Liverpool and have a good time. Even if it was Ian St. John, you could go down, you get recognised, but nobody would be too bothered. If something happened, it would only be in Liverpool, it wouldn't be worldwide. Now, if one of these guys steps out of line, it's all over the world instantly. Yeah. So there's no escape, there's no hiding place. wherever they go in town, they get pestered for autographs, photographs, shirts. And it's a lot of pressure in the modern game, really, from the internet. And then on top of that, you've got all this data stuff and these tactics and all these people behind the scenes, which never used to be the case in my day. I think somebody said earlier on, Liverpool with Shankly only had 4 or 5 people behind the scenes, and it's quite right. They had Ruben Bennett, they had Joe Fagan, they had Bob Paisley. That was
Football
it.
people, yeah.
That was
Yeah,
it.
football people.
Yeah,
And
every one
two of them guys became managers.
knowledgeable about the game,
Yeah.
knew a good player when they saw one, knew how to train, way ahead of the time. And the game has changed beyond all recognition now, really, to be honest. The game and the conditions.
It's like what you just mentioned, Joe Fagan and Bob Paisley. 2 of them guys went on to actually manage Liverpool and win European Cups.
Yeah.
Like, for me, Pep Lijnders going is also a blessing in disguise. I wouldn't want him as Liverpool manager, you know. I'm happy he's actually gone. I think this season he had too much influence on decision making, subs. Maybe playing. I think he may be the guy who brought the inverted role into the team, you know. So all these sort of tactics for me, not for me personally, but as you were saying about the old school players, they had respect. That's what they had. We live in a world with no respect. Hence, the young footballers with the money, they're not going to really respect the older generation, you know. Sometimes they might have to bite their tongue and stuff. So that's why I feel like Harvey Elliott is a good go-to guy. What a lad. Never out of line. Always gives 100% because he supports Liverpool. Trent also supports Liverpool. But you don't have the same effect as Elliott does now. You know, Trent had that because he wanted to show the world who he was. And he did that. He showed the world who he was. But now he has to stay there. And I think this season for Trent and Darwin, very important. Them 2 guys.
I think Trent was badly affected by Jurgen going. Obviously, he's like Shankly was to me. He's a father figure to him. And I think, you could see by his tears on that final day that it affected him quite badly. But I mean, when he gets past the Euros, comes back to Anfield again, gets back on the back on the pitch in front of the Cup, it'll all start again. And I don't think he'll go anywhere. He's a scouser, and fingers crossed he'll be with us the whole next season at least.
Yeah, I think if I was him, I would be seriously considering what I want to do this year. Like, does he want to be future Liverpool captain? He's vice captain now. Does he want to be the future Liverpool captain? Come on.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people get that title. Virgil just got it now after Hendo and Milner had it, you know. So, and Hendo was with us for a long time. So Trent has to think about that.
JK and Darryl, we were disappointed this season. We were disappointed, and I think the expectations were really not too high in the beginning of the season. We thought, well, if we get a top 4, that would be a good result. I think most people would have agreed with that at the start. We always want to win the league, but that was really the aspiration. But as the season went on and it came towards the key time, unfortunately, Jurgen announced his retirement just at an unfortunately bad time. Because from there, the players seemed to be under more pressure. And all kicked off in Man United when we missed all those chances, failed to beat them twice at Old Trafford when we should have murdered them.
Yeah.
And from there, Crystal Palace, missed chances, and it just faded away at the end, which was disappointing. But at the end of the day, we've still won a trophy. And we're finished 3rd in the Premier League in a transition season. So we can hold our heads up high in that sense. I just wish Jurgen was here next year to take us forward. And if he had been, I think we'd win the Premier League.
I also think our midfield, I know it's been in transition, but I still think it's very weak. I still think we need to add a few more in there. 100%.
Yeah, because it's not being protected by a DM.
No, yeah, we need more in there, I think. And if we don't get a DM, I think we're in trouble next season if we don't get one.
I don't think we'll be in trouble, but I think it won't help.
Yeah, it won't be a top 4 finish if we don't get a DM.
Okay. Well, what do you think of that? A 4-year, the Mark Simons, we don't know anything here, so Mark might know something. 4-year contract for a 30-year-old Enzo is a bit strange if that's true.
I thought he was homesick.
Exactly. You know, these are the things that we're getting. It's just absolutely.
What, he's been offered that, has he?
Eh?
Has he been offered that?
Well, this is what according to him. Mark, yes, I don't know. I just don't know. I haven't a clue.
No,
I don't know. Everything's coming out. These are all rumours, you know, and I hate rumours. This is why I like to say, you know, who shall we keep? You know, who's pivotal? Because these are the players, these are the nucleus of players we've got. Who shall we keep? Herbert Long's brother. I'd sell Curtis Jones. He's not good enough. Not happening at Liverpool. Doesn't do enough for return goals and assists. You see the difference of opinions.
Yeah.
I'd keep him because he's
people's opinions.
No, I'd keep him. He's an all-grow player and he's a scouser. And he has got talent. He really has.
At his best, he's very good. It can be frustrating at times.
Right, what does Norman say? I do know what you mean, Chris, though. We played Hansen at centre-half, yet he was coming forward like a playmaker from midfield. So we were not like 4-4-2 in games when he was attacking. Then again, Hansen was fab.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, okay. Alan Hansen. One of the greatest. I'll go back up, but don't worry. Trent is a misfit, says Tony.
Need to expand on that a bit.
I'm very pleased to see Darwin always following the ball all over the field. That's a huge quality. Gapco is good, but he doesn't have that. See, there are so many different types, you know, what people are looking at. It's just... Shankly would have found us such a good, defensive mid that we could have played Arthur in goal. Remember that?
That's right. When a reporter said to him, he said, you know, because Tommy Lawrence was injured and Jim Fornell was injured, and this reporter said, "You got a problem on Saturday, boss. Both the key goalkeepers are injured. What are you going to do?" He said, this team can play with Arthur in goal.
Because he had the likes of Ronnie Yates in the centre half.
Arthur was about 4'11", the glasses.
No one has known Arthur is, to be honest.
Yeah. You could have said Ronnie Corbett, it's the same thing.
Yeah. That was so funny, though.
There's a way he spat it out to the reporter. Give me bloody Arthur in goal, son. We still wouldn't lose a goal.
He just came out with it, didn't he? He just came out with it. I always remember him in Liverpool beat Leeds 1-0 because they were our main rivals at Anfield. And there was him and John Revy on, you know, the sides of the pitch being interviewed. And Shankly's just going on. And Revy just turned around and said, "Come on, Bill, I'll buy you a cup of tea." You know what I mean?
You couldn't beat him. Nobody ever beat him.
No. And Ali says, Bradley is Robbo on the right, 100% same player. That's what he said. And he's right, isn't he?
Yes.
Chris Dick says, I like Jurgen, but for me, players are overcoached. In those days, players didn't need it. As Joe sorted out Souness, then he asked how he should play. Joe said, F off. That's Fagan, isn't it? And he did, didn't he? That was true, though. It's the ball over his head he struggles with defending Trent, and that's spot on. What do you think, JK? Do you think that's spot on?
Yeah, I think that just shows you he don't want to be a defender when he gets caught out. Lack of concentration. Yeah, you know when you're a defender, concentration is like big time. And I think sort of Trent's sort of concentration drifts because he's thinking about something totally different to what he should be actually doing. I hope he watches his games again, the ones he plays in, and sees them mistakes and sort of tries to sort them out now. And the thing is, we're in a world now where we can't even decide which position is best for him. Last 2-3 years have been like that about Trent. What's his best position? Like, come on, man, sort it out. Have a cup of tea, talk about it, and do it. You know.
Yeah.
What about you, Darryl?
Yeah, I agree. The ball over the top is where Trent's very suspect because he gets turned inside and out every time that happens. I think he needs to improve on that next year if he's playing it right back. But I just can't see it. I just see a world where Bradley plays right back next year. I just can't see Bradley being taken out of that place.
Even at corners, you know, he's allowed players the back of him to out jump him all the time.
Yes, cost us
all
a few
the
goals.
time.
Yeah.
You know, to be honest, it's very rare that I've seen him head a ball out from a free kick or a corner.
Yeah.
Very rare. I can't think of one where he's headed it out. You know.
Yeah.
That's our. And as Youssef says, it's all about pace and power now. And it's so right. And Dorothy says, Nunes can be brilliant on the ball, moving through the paces, and I agree, he does lack composure. He rushes and snatches opportunities. Just needs to learn to be the quiet killer. That's
cracking comment. Yeah, true.
He's just talking to themselves. And as he says as well, you know, about Nunes being like hated and all this. These are not real fans of LFC, chatting gate, awful media abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Dorothy. There's lots of it. Oh yeah, there's Brian Edley. Good evening, gents. Great to see the faces again and hear the voices. Stephen, Gerard. How you missed them last week?
Yeah,
You missed them? Yes.
Hello, Brian.
Stephen. It's like coaches and statisticians. God, I can't stop going there. Are trying to do away with flair in football, and it's become robotic. Look at City. How sad it is that you know before they play, you know they will have the ball.
Yeah.
That is robotic, really, isn't it? To be honest.
Yeah.
And,
I don't find it very entertaining, to be honest.
see, would you agree with this? I know the two lads there, Darryl and JK, will remember this fella. Modern day football would say to Peter Thompson on John Barnes, don't risk losing the ball by taking fullback on. Just keep it.
Mm-hmm. That's what Diaz does.
Yeah.
That's what Diaz does. Mm-hmm.
Peter Thompson would take the fullback on twice. He'd beat him once and then wait for him to come back and beat him again.
That's what wingers used to do. I used to love wingers like that.
Yeah, and Johnny Barnes as well. I mean, they were unbelievable. Do you remember the goal John Barnes scored for England against Brazil at the Maracanã?
Oh, yeah.
They beat about 8 players and rolled it into the net. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable, that. No, do you know if that would have happened, say like this summer?
Yeah.
Everyone would have gone on for Barnes. Everybody.
Yes, that's right.
Everybody would have gone in for him. And the millions that would have been, we wouldn't have done it. And the millions that would have been offered, we would have sold them, said, oh yeah. We'll have the money instead. That's what we're like today. Tony 7-7. Remember Emblem charging forwards and banging in the goals? Yes. What a joy to behold. Yes.
Crazy horse.
He was great, wasn't he?
Crazy horse.
He was unbelievable. I was at Goodison when he scored 2. Oh, what? Absolutely brilliant. What a...
Wonderful.
Arthur that says Dorothy Langman. Arthur Askew, I'm a busy, busy bee.
That was the song he sang, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was watching an old film a few weeks ago called Ghost Train. Him and Stinker Murdoch. Upset about it. Little black and white thing. Yeah, my mates. Oh, shit. That was his catchphrase, wasn't it? Oh dear, look, Herbert Lom's brother, Mr. Denning drives North Star and John Mills and Herbert Lom, a British mystery. Yeah, that's it. That's where Herbert gets killed and poor John gets accused. John gets accused of it. I think he did do it, actually. The best young story I heard, he was driving the Americans around the city. Americans were asking, how long did that building take to build? Shankly would answer, then the American would say, in the USA it would. I don't know what he's talking about there.
Take 5 minutes.
When he was an American tour in 1964, he didn't change his watch. Somebody said, what time is it, Bill? And he said, it's 4:30. This American jumped in and said, no, it's not. He said, it's 12 o'clock. He said, no Yank's going to tell me the time.
I remember taking some Americans. I was asked to take these Americans around, 11 of them. And I said, I don't want to take them around. I said, oh, go on. Good. Anyway, did you ever see Fawlty Towers where there's an American in it?
Yeah.
Waldorf salad.
Waldorf salad, yeah.
This fella was like this fella. And he reminded me of him. Because I was down by the monument where the castle was, showed them the picture of, my castle. I said, this was here on the site, and I was showing him different things. I said, this was the site, and he went, I said, it was pulled down. I said, it was built in 1234 and pulled down in 1723. And he went, why did you pull it down? I said, I didn't pull it down, honestly. That was my humour, and he didn't get the humour, he didn't get the irony. Anyway, it was getting on my nerves. Everything was bigger. Everything. And we were up in Lacey Street, and I looked up, and there's the big Anglican cathedral, by the pub, the Flying the Ointment, outside there. I said, you see that building? He said, yeah, that's a big cathedral. I said, yeah, that's a big cathedral. Because even the people he was with, they were like, they were embarrassed. Because everything's coming out with everything. And I said, you see that? Yeah, I said, we're pulling that down next month. I said, because we're going to make the biggest McDonald's in the world on that site. We're pulling that down, and a big McDonald's in the world is going there. Big letter there, big letter there, big yellow letter M sign. And he was looking at it, he said, you what? I said, yeah. I said, come on, let's go up, So anyway, we got to up, see, walking around. And I forgot to tell him that I was only messing. And he told Radio Merseyside. Hey, that guy said, pulling the cathedral down. He said, I would take no notice of him. He said, what else has he been telling you? Just got on the building names, to be honest. But that's my story about the Americans, all Americans. Tony, says Chris. Emlyn, my favourite player, was at one of his games versus Spurs, ran through the length of the field and smashed it past Jennings. I loved him, tried to play like. Okay. Yeah. Do you think he was underrated, George? Do you know when we talk about great players of Liverpool, he hardly gets a mention, does Emlyn Hughes?
I know. No, it's funny, isn't it? It's weird. I mean, because he was a real legend. I mean, remember when Shankly first signed him from Blackpool, and they were coming back in Shankly's car, and they got stopped by the police for something, I'm not sure, and the police asked for some identification. He said, Samuel Hughes, he's going to be captain of England.
To the copper. It's just like that.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, wasn't he? The great man, the Shanks. Take the half time. Shanks got fed up as they drove past the Liver building. This is the Americans carrying on with the story. Past the Liver building, American says, "How long did it take to build that?" Shanks replied, "I don't know, but it wasn't there this morning."
I never heard that one. That's good.
I don't know, but it wasn't there this morning. It's just nuts, isn't he? Great man, loved him.
I remember when they used to come to Anfield, and Shanks said, he was telling the reporter, he said, they treat this place like a cathedral. They come here sometimes to bury the dead, scatter the ashes. And the boy said, "Well, where did they scatter them?" He said, they come in, he said, and had a family in last week. He said they brought the casket in with the ashes in the casket, asked if we could put it down under the goal line at the Kop. So I told Arthur Riley, "Arthur, help the family out and, get the casket, dig a wee hole, put it in, cover it over, say a wee prayer." And they did it. He said he did it. So, he said that was all done and dusted. He said about a month later, I said, we're watching a game. I said, it'd be TV Williams, the chairman. And the opposition hit this ball and hit the underside of the bar and came down. I said, "Hey, there's that fella. He's having a blinder."
He just came out with them, didn't he?
Yeah.
And top listeners actually said, and this is absolutely genuine as well. Tommy Smith hated Evelyn Hughes, so did most of that played with him. And it's all because of he got the armband. Because
they never got on. They never got on Tommy and Evelyn. Very sad that. But they never took it onto the pitch. They never affected him on the pitch.
No, they congratulated each other, they running over but off the pitch. Brian says, "Frank, what do the boys think of Slot?" We can't come out with an opinion. We haven't. It's like a player. I've got to say this. It's like a player, and who you've never seen before. You've never seen play before, so you can't give an opinion. This fella's he's taken over one of the greatest managers Liverpool have ever had. Mm-hmm. He's taken over a mirror image of Bill Shankly, with the fans. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. A mirror image. He's won everything with the club. Every trophy that was available, he's won with the club. The point is, this Slot fella, we know nothing about. He's coming into a Premiership, which is the hardest league in world football. It's the hardest league. He's got to come up against managers, top-class managers. And they're all brilliant managers. They've all proved themselves with the top clubs. Everyone's proved themselves. Mikel Arteta's proved himself now. With his Arsenal side, he's proved himself. So you've got all these managers, top-class managers, that he'll come up against. He's got to come up against. And he's got to prove himself. So, we can't really say what I think of him. I'm being honest with you. I wanted a manager or a coach, whatever these people want to call it now, who's proven and proven to me. That's who I wanted. I wanted the best manager for Liverpool. And I keep repeating myself. Yeah. We're an elite European side, elite. PSG are not even elite side. We are. We're alongside Real Madrid for eliteness, AC Milan for eliteness. That's us. That's Liverpool Football Club. I want the best manager possible. And, this slot to me, I don't know, and I can't give an opinion. I still support.
I agree with you, Frank, because sorry to interrupt. I've been at Anfield since 1960 as a player and as a fan all these years. This is the first time a manager's taken control of Anfield that I hadn't even heard of, because I hadn't heard of him. I didn't know who he was when he announced. So we've got to get behind him. But, you're right what you say. He's got huge competition and he's only got 5 years experience. So he better get onto it quick, because, as you say, we're the elite of Europe, elite of world football. There's nobody bigger, really, other than maybe the odd club like Real Madrid in the world. So, we've got to get the act together this year. And he's going to have to be up for it. But he's got a hell of a job on his hands. That goes without saying. Because what an act he has to follow.
And that's the problem he's got. I'm just saying to Brian, that's the problem Slaughter's got. It's not just me. You've heard George saying it. What about you, Darryl? And what Brian said, about what does the panel think of Slaughter?
To be honest with you, I'm like Frank, George. We don't know nothing about him. All we know that he's Dutch and he's bold, and we all know what the last Dutch bowlman's done in the Premier League, and it's not been great, has it? So that's all really, isn't it?
Van Gaal was the last one.
No, the last bold Dutchman is Ten Hag. We all know what he's done in the Premier League. Not very good.
Of course, yeah. Ten Hag. Yeah. They've been bitten twice by the Dutch, haven't they, Man United?
Yeah, so we don't know what to expect, really, do we? So.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, JK? Or what Brian said, what does the panel think of the...
Blessed to Brian Morrissey as well. For me, Arne Slot sort of got himself into a bit of a soap opera, what he didn't really need to do. I believe Edwards or whoever should have told him, do not say nothing. I've said this on the last show as well, where I think Arne Slot sort of ruined it by letting the news out he's going to be the new manager. And it was cringe. I didn't like it myself. The whole manager news, the Edwards news, the guy from Bournemouth coming in and this and this disrupted our season to the extent where Klopp just looked like he just wanted to leave there and then. So for me, Arnie sort of should have just kept it cool until his season finished and our season finished. Then maybe a week after Klopp's left, come out and say, I'm the new manager. Then I would have respected him more. I just didn't like the way he sort of told the whole world nearly a month ago now, that he's going to be the new manager. Totally wrong decision, that.
Yeah, he should have kept it under wraps. And I didn't like the way it went, as we were going for a quadruple at the time,
Yeah.
We were going for a quadruple when all this broke. And it was absolutely ridiculous. Then all of a sudden, this fella came on the scene and said, I want to be Liverpool manager. And to me, Feyenoord supporters are saying, he's a great manager and whatever. Yeah, okay, it might be great for Feyenoord, but the point is, he disrespected your club. If there's any Feyenoord people looking in, he disrespected your club by saying, I'm going. Do you know if Jurgen Klopp would have said, say last October, and he turned around and said, I'm leaving at the end of the season, I'm going to Barcelona. I would have said to Jurgen, go now.
Yeah, he would.
Go now. You don't do that. You don't announce what you want to be. And see, Jurgen Klopp saying, I want to be the manager of Bayern Munich or Bayer Leverkusen or Real Madrid or Barcelona or Tottenham or whoever. And he coming out and saying that. That's disrespecting me, personally.
Yeah, you're right, Frank.
So, that does annoy me. I go along with what JK said. And Chris Dick says, hit the likes, lads. Yeah, hit the likes of me. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Won't bite it, subscribe. Get the algorithm out there.
It's free, guys.
Yeah, so everything is free. We need your comments out. Like the lovely Dorothy. I think Emlyn was a big star back in the day. Of course he was.
Yeah, he was a TV star as well. He used to be on The Question of Sport.
Great captain as well.
With Princess Anne and all the rest of them.
Even Bill Beaumont.
Yes, yeah.
Well, I was asked on LFC TV when I was on, used to go on there. And they said, will you pick your favourite, all your all-star team, going back and whatever. And I said, yeah. And, like I picked Clements and I picked Phil Neal at right back because he's the most decorated Liverpool player. And he was great anyway. England captain and whatever. And for me left back, I picked Emlyn Hughes.
Yeah.
Picked Emlyn Hughes. But as I said to you, George, before, when all these great players are there, being mentioned who played for Liverpool, Emlyn Hughes hardly ever, like Ray Kennedy, hardly ever gets mentioned.
Yes. Slipped under the radar.
Yeah, which is absolutely nuts.
Boys, remember always at Anfield, they got the statue of Bob carrying him off the pitch with his knee all bloodied.
I was there at the game. I mentioned that the other night. I was there at that game when he was getting carried off at Anfield.
Yeah, it's a brilliant statue.
He won't be back. And somehow a fella behind me, he'll be my age now and your age, George, said, he will. The magic sponge will go on him, lad. And he did, and he paid off. Magic sponge. Everyone says Herbert Lom. Everyone had great wingers back in the day. Callahan, Thompson, Charlie Cook, Terry Payne. But Giorgino wasn't bad either. I seen Giorgino at Goodison Park.
Yeah.
Along with Pele. I seen the greatest.
Like a banana.
Oh. And you know what? It's funny, made me little mate, we're standing there, looking. And we say, look at his legs. And I'm talking about Giorgino. Look at it. And he had bent legs.
Yeah. His right leg was bent, wasn't it?
Oh, it was.
He had polio or something when he was young.
Oh, did he? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Go away. And look at the player he was.
Yeah.
If anyone's picking teams, George, and I'm talking about international teams, Brazil was the greatest team I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, fantastic.
Oh, the players were incredible, every one of them.
Back in 1970,
Oh, Pele.
Rivellino, all them.
Rivellino.
Yeah.
Oh, he that early 90s team weren't bad. Romario and them sort of playing class.
When as good as them, though, they were unbelievable. They were absolutely.
Gerson, Pele, yeah.
Gerson, and blimey. And I always remember, I forget his name, the captain. Number 4 he was, big, tall, slim lad. And he scored a cracker against Italy. I support Italy, obviously. And he was right in the corner. Right in the corner.
Yes, the big tall lad, yeah.
Oh, what a player he was. I forget his name.
What was his name?
I forget. My mind's gone.
One word, wasn't it? It was a one-word name.
Yeah, just one. Yeah, just one word. And so you had these great players of Brazil, and they were the best team I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
International, that is.
It was Carlos
See,
Alberto. It was
That
Carlos
comment there,
Alberto.
Frank. Herbert Lom's brothers put a comment, and he's named amongst that lot. He's got Sissons, John Sissons.
Oh, John Sissons, yeah.
That's the lad. When we played the FA Youth Cup final in 1963 at Anfield, we beat them 3-1, and Harry Redknapp was on the right wing. He was only 17. And John Sissons was on the left wing. They're two classic wingers. And that's the guy where Shankly said to Tommy Smith before the game, he said, a left winger's a flyer, son. I want him in the bandbox in 20 minutes. And the bandbox was by the players' tunnel. And Tommy hit him. He might have been a minute or two late. And Sissons limped off. And as he limped off, he was shouting at John Lyle, the manager, shouting and pointing at Tommy, saying, bloody psycho. He's a psycho. He never came back on. We beat him 3-1. Unfortunately for us, he was fit for the replay and he lost the ball for the winning goal, but it's another story.
Frank and George, that player he was on about is Carlos Alberto, the captain.
Carlos Alberto.
Oh, yeah, that's the one, yeah. Carlos Alberto, yeah.
Carlos
wow.
Alberto.
Yeah. They were great.
Decent.
Oh, unbelievable. Absolutely brilliant. Tell you what worries me with Slot is when he said he can handle pressure of Liverpool job because he handled pressure of Feyenoord job. If that's the case, he is in for one hell of a shock.
Yeah. He is.
Well, anyway.
I think for him, the less he says, probably the better, Arnie. But I think he wants everyone to like him, don't get me wrong. But I feel anything he says will be twisted. I think someone needs to tell him, have a word in his ear about the media in England, how it rolls and how they get on with it, I think Klopp sort of handles that pretty well over the time. He sort of, if he didn't like something, he would actually say it to the reporter or the journalist. But for me, Arne Slot just needs to be professional and learn about the history of the club. Very important, about the old players, what we mean, I think for a good club, don't get me wrong, but Liverpool is a different ballgame. So for me, Arne Slot's in a position now where he's got time on his hands. He should be doing his homework, about the city, about the people, the support, probably watching a lot of games, how we played last season. So I hope he's doing that. He can give us guys a call if he wants, if he needs to know anything.
Well, Paul Turner says, I want to do two. Shanks invited Emlyn to his house and was going to tell him the reason he left the club, but his grandchildren arrived at the same time and he never got the opportunity again to say why he left. Paul Turner. And Brian says, 100% agree with your answer, Frank. We will back him, okay, but what you've said there is correct. We are Liverpool. Massive doesn't even cover it.
Yeah.
Right. You're so right.
Yeah.
And I agree, JK. Slot should have had some respect and waited.
That's it.
Absolutely. And Brian says, I didn't ask the question, Frank. It was yeah, I know.
Jaden's
Brian. There's another Norman Ann.
Being honest.
No, his name's. It was
Brian, yeah.
Brian's using Jaden as his grandson's. I didn't ask the question. See how confused you get? Right? Easily confused. This is what I mean, I remember calling, Norman Ann for ages. I was saying, there's the lovely Ann. Hello, Anne. How are you, Anne? And he used to ask the question. And
Everyone
Mum
was
said,
nice. Yeah.
he must have got fed up. He must have got fed up with me saying,
Yeah.
it's the lovely Anne. It's Norman. It's Norman. I'm using my wife's name. Yeah, I can't blame it. That cat of yours.
Yeah, pain in the ass.
I'm going to skin
Get
that.
his tail down.
Get down.
Ali
Get
New
down.
says, JKB contacted him, not Slot's fault. I don't know what that
Yeah,
means.
I think that's regarding about Slot saying too much. Yeah, we contacted him, but I think, Edwards and the guys could have told him, out of respect, don't say nothing for a month or so, let the season finish, then carry on. That's all it is.
I went to Emlyn's funeral in Sheffield Cathedral. I spoke with Tiki Baird. He was the umpire, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was,
Yeah, that's right.
Cricket.
he was in
Yorkshire.
tears. Oh. Cop prison. Whole world knew Slot got the job. He wouldn't cope because he said it, didn't he? On the telly. And I'll finish off here, boys. Emily News reminds me of Stevie. Both had the same mannerisms, great captains and fierce competitors, and both had a shot in them, says Paul Taylor. That's a good shout, that. That's a very good shout. He would just say is the Liverpool. I'll start with you, George. Who do you think is Liverpool's greatest captain?
Liverpool's greatest captain.
I've got mine right here. I know who it is. Shall I tell you mine?
Yeah, go on.
You know, people think I'd say they're the likes of Souness and whatever. Steven Gerrard, undoubtedly. Because Steven Gerrard played with no one. He had no one around him, you know. He had mediocre players. And he gave it all. And when he got someone around him, the likes of Nando Torres, the likes of Xabi Alonso, Mascherano, they were great players.
Yeah, I agree.
Missed out on things. But Steven Gerrard, when you look at the likes of Souness, Phil Thompson included there as well, Phil Tomo, you had they were all world class players. They had around them.
You've also got to go back. I mean, I know I'm being maybe a bit old fashioned in this, but you still maybe go back. Great captain was Ron Yates. Because
Ron Yates, brilliant
Ron Yates and Ian St. John, Liverpool wouldn't be where they are today. Because Ron Yates was a key signing, centre back in that great Liverpool 60s team, and St. John was the key signing up front. And so Big Ronnie was a fantastic captain. He was impressive. He was huge. Won the cup, you know. But I agree with you about Steven Gerrard. I mean, it's a tragedy that Steven Gerrard hasn't got a Premier League medal.
Yeah, that's the one that eluded
him.
At
the wrong time.
Just the one that eluded him. But Ron Yates, because Shankly knew exactly what he wanted. He already had the goalkeeper in Tommy Lawrence, the flying pig, and Tommy was great. But he made Tommy into a sweeper, the sweeper keeper.
Sweeper keeper, yeah. He did.
He did. That's the cleverness of Shankly. And he made him into the sweeper keeper. He had Ian St. John in the front. Behind him, you had the great Ron Yates. Yeah. Either side of Ron Yates, you had Willie Stevenson and Gordon Mill.
Yeah, they were just an amazing
midfield.
Yeah.
And then number 10, which I'll never forget, was a young kid named Tommy Smith.
That's right.
You had two wingers, Peter Thompson and Ian Callaghan. And
both went down the wing and crossed it.
On the seat.
And Roger Hunt.
And you had Jerry Bain, left back.
Yeah. Playing
with a broken collarbone for nearly 90 minutes because Bobby Collins broke his collarbone.
And in the first goal for Roger, he crossed the ball for Roger to head in.
And he crossed the ball for Roger Hunt to score the win. Well, it wasn't the winner, was it? But it was to score. Nevertheless, to put us 1-0 up.
I'd love to have seen one or two of those lads play today. I'd love to have seen St. John play today. And today, if he was fit like the players today, but with his charisma and his name and his style, he'd have been a big idol. He was a big idol then, obviously. He'd have been
What about-
huge in the modern day.
But what about the two wingers?
No,
Peter
they were
Tomo and Kelly.
just incredible.
You wouldn't leave them out, would you?
If only we had time travel, it would be good, wouldn't it?
Oh, you know, I wonder if the Peter's gone now. I wonder if Kelly, even Suey, you know, I wonder if they Terry Mack, wonder if they turn around and say, just imagine playing on them pitches.
Oh yeah, even I say that.
You'd be like,
Absolutely. Must be sheer luxury.
oh, carpets.
Nice light ball, nice light boots.
Do you know what? There's been some great comments tonight, you know.
Yeah, there has, hasn't it?
And look at this. Jimmy Terayori says Brian. Not you, Brian.
All off the line.
Not the
I'll
Irish
tell you what, guys. There's one thing that always struck me is how the hell was Paul Ince ever captain for Liverpool Football Club?
The governor. He went into the dressing room and went like that. And when he was made cat, he said, "Call me the governor."
You thought it was Denzel Washington or someone.
Exactly. Call me the governor.
Well, some teams call the manager the gaffer. I hate that. Gaffer. All right, gaffer. We used to call the Shankly, but I called Shankly boss even after I left the club.
Yeah, well, you always said
I always called him boss.
Who
was captain before Ince? Was it Redknapp?
Before Ince?
Was it Jerry
No,
Redknapp?
he was after Paul.
Oh, was he?
Redknapp was after him. Yeah, after him. I don't know why we signed him, to be honest.
Yeah, same with that Joe Cole. Didn't we signed him?
Yeah.
Hey guys, what do you think about Guamaras for the DM role?
Not for 100 million.
He's a good player.
He's a player.
Yeah.
I prefer Emerson.
Yeah, there's some names there. Chris Dix that we were mentioning.
Tostao, Good.
Tostao, Rivellino, and Carlos Alberto.
Jair.
Yeah.
J.H. Ewing.
They
all came out of the ghettos.
That's why, the likes of the Poland team, trying to pronounce their name. I'll never forget. I'll forget who we were playing at Anfield. And me and our Francine was sitting there. Was it, I don't know, European game or a friendly? I forget now what it was. And anyway, George Sefton, and I forgot to mention it last week because I wanted to mention it when I had him on, and he couldn't pronounce the names. Then he just went, number 23. He kept saying that, just saying the numbers. Just couldn't pronounce the names.
It was Lech Poznan, wasn't it? Lech Poznan.
Was it? Poznan.
Yeah.
That was damn funny. That was so funny. Yeah, Norman says Peter Beardsley was incredible in that game versus Forest. One of the best individual performances I've seen from a Liverpool player. He scored a great goal as well when he went through. Was it John Motson who said that was and Tom Finney as well? That was the finest club game you've ever seen in their lives. By a club playing football, pure, unadulterated football. John Motson said that.
I think so. Yeah, I think it was.
Beardsley was quality. Yeah.
Yeah, and Brian says, Brian Morrissey says, facts, Frank, Gerrard dragged mediocrity to greatness.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he did have some poor players around him for a while.
And
He kept the fan base together. Yeah.
Stevie was a star from the moment he stepped foot on the pitch. He was only about 17 when he was 18. A short haircut, like a slip of a lad, and he scored a brilliant goal.
Against Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, brilliant goal.
Yeah, it was in the cup.
The defender, dummied him right in the corner.
Yeah, first goal, Sheffield Wednesday, yeah.
I tell you who scored a very similar goal not so long ago. Bobby Firmino against Arsenal. It was just like it. You remember when we were getting beat 1-0 and we ended up smashing them 5-1?
Yeah.
And you see Bobby going through and just...
Yes, we 3 players, yeah.
And I said at the time, that's just like what Bobby... what's David Gerrard did on his debut against Sheffield Wednesday.
You know, lucky are we to see some of these players.
I can remember Bobby's first game against Arsenal when he got the ball on the edge of the area, cut inside and curled one right in the top corner.
Yes.
Remember that one against Lehman? What a goal that was.
A phenomenal footballer, Bobby Firmino, wasn't he?
Amazing.
Yeah, there's a good point there, boys, from Brian Morrissey, that is. Losing Torres, Alonso and Suarez killed Gerrard.
Yeah.
And it did.
Yes. Yeah, it did. He got on great with Suarez, didn't he?
Willie Stevo. Me and Ian Golder went down to, we were doing a night for him, and we went down to his house, and he didn't half make us welcome.
Yeah, he's a lovely, lovely man.
Such a sweetheart, honestly. He was dead genuine. And we went down and gave him his money, after, because he went straight home. I said, look, you and your wife, we booked a room for you in the Derbyshire. He said, no, we'll just go home. And his wife said, I'll just go home. We're all right. I said, okay. And went down with his money. And he gave her an envelope and he said, thank you. No one's ever done this for me. And his wife, said, this is so beautiful, you wonderful Liverpool people. Thank you so much. She said, thank you. She had tears in her eyes.
Yeah, so many memories. We used to go down the Royal Tiger Club in Manchester Street on a Saturday night. Billy, Carmel, and the boys. He's a fantastic character.
Used to be a fella named Billy Buck on the door.
Yes, right, yeah, Billy.
And he never let me in. Do you know why? He wouldn't let me in.
You didn't have a Liverpool blazer on?
No, honest, this is true. I used to go down with the lads, with my mates, they were my mates, and he was letting them all in. And he used to go, you're not getting in. I said, why? He said, you're paying. I said, you're not charging there. He said, no, because you've got money.
We never got charged.
The way you dress. I said, I'm skint. He said, no, you're not coming in, Billy Buck. But he did let me in. Right?
I'll tell you what,
used to be owned by Bill Gregson. You remember Bill Gregson?
I remember Bill, yeah.
The owner of Skelmersdale. He went to the amateur final. He owned the Tiger. He had the most amazing wig. Yeah.
I have a question for you, boys. Who's in the Liverpool era? Who's your most underrated player?
In any era, did you say? Or what?
Of Liverpool's whole history, who's your most underrated player?
Who's the greatest player?
No, underrated. Underrated. Who's the most underrated?
Underrated player.
I've got mine.
There's loads of underrated players.
In my time, Frank, mine would probably be Dirk Kuyt.
Yeah, he was a great player, wasn't he, Dirk?
Dirk Kuyt, so underrated.
I don't think he was underrated, really,
Loved him.
I don't think he was underrated. The underrated, it's like looking at Steve Finnan.
Yeah, that's
Steve Finnan was underrated. The likes of him, the likes of Israel. And there was a lot of players who were underrated. The likes of Steve Finnan, for example.
Risa.
So Jake Cow was I don't think he was under. Would you agree with that, George, that Jake Cow was underrated?
No, I don't think he was, Darrow, because he was up front all the time. He scored all them penalties, scored some great goals, scored in the final European Cup in
Scored
Athens.
the hat-trick against United.
He did, yeah. So, no, he was a fantastic player, that guy, from day one. He was very quick, wasn't he? But, Finnan, there was somebody like Finnan, I think, was underrated, definitely. Rob Jones, people like that.
Yeah.
Rob Jones.
John
What about
Henry.
you, JK? Would you agree with Jake Cow being underrated? With what Darrell said?
Oh, a little bit. For me, he did a lot for Liverpool. A little bit underrated, I would say. Yeah. Same as
Okay.
Finnan, another one. Maybe even Peter Beardsley as well.
No.
No, but like nowadays, no one
No.
really talks about him now. Like no one talks about Peter Beardsley, how good he was.
No.
Like I
No,
mean in that way.
I think what Darrell means, playing at the time. I've always said that, when players are not, we're always mentioning players, but I mentioned Emlyn Hughes has never played, never mentioned, hardly ever mentioned. Terry McDermott, I've always said, hardly ever gets a mention. And these are great, world-class players. If you know what I mean.
Ronnie Whelan.
Ronnie Whelan's underrated.
Yeah.
Ronnie Whelan is underrated. So you do have the great players who were underrated, to be honest. I'll tell you who was underrated as well, going back to George's time. Jeff Strong.
He was, because he was more or less in and out. He was bought really. He was one of the guys that kept me from getting in the team, because he was brought as a sort of from Arsenal for 30,000, 50,000, a lot of money, basically as a 12th man. But when the substitute rule came in, he was able to come in a year after I left. Didn't he play in the final because Gordon Milne was injured?
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, he did. Played in the final because Gordon was. And that was the sad thing about Gordon Milne, because Gordon Milne was a really great.
And I remember he scored a wonderful header against Celtic, but he was injured.
That's what I was just going to say.
He scored the winner in the Anfield Road end. And Celtic.
And he was injured. Remember, he got injured. He got kicked.
Yeah.
And he was limping. And that ball came over, and he just rose, didn't he? Pink goal in the cup end. For me, says Brian, Carragher was the class. He was class and didn't get the credit for the English, not Liverpoolians. That's true, that. Yeah. That's a good show. Robbie Keane, I think, would have been good if used properly under Rafa. Scored some balls. He scored a cracker against Arsenal. The ball came over his shoulder and he volleyed it. Yeah. And he was like that to the crowd because they were all screaming at him, before the game and during the game when he scored that goal. First player I ever seen do that. No, it wasn't. Steven Gerrard did it, didn't he? Even Tony says Lawrenson was underrated.
Hansen, Lawrenson went together, didn't they? Hansen.
Yeah, no, he was. But, if you don't mean that hardly ever gets mentioned, yeah, why not? But I always mention Lawrenson and Hansen. When you mention Hansen, you mention Lawrenson. They were two pivotal centre-halves. No one got past them. I don't know about underrated, but I like Bobby Graham. Short, I don't know what else, a short career. And sure. And Peter Cormack, he was one of my favourite players, Peter. Didn't get the praise from outside the club that I gave him. Yeah. He was unbelievable. Stevie Nicol, lad, says Brian. The other Brian, there is Brian. Stevie Nicol says stay, yeah. David James was Jekyll and Hyde, and his nickname was Dracula because he didn't like crosses. Andrea Varnon, Van Jansen, detectorists. You've just got a red card for that.
Well, we've had some players. Whoa.
McMahon. No,
Yeah.
he wasn't underrated. Chris Lawler, never underrated.
Yeah.
This lad was Anelka. He would have been great for us, only Hooley got shut.
He had a lot of talent, didn't he? He had a lot of talent. He's very quick.
Yeah, Narco was good.
Ridiculous. He was brilliant, him.
Yeah.
Anelka. And I'll tell you who else was brilliant, and he hardly played him, Hooley, and that was Jari Littman.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. Yeah, he was a great player.
Oh, that's
Carlites Riedler as well.
Mm-hmm.
Carlites Riedler.
Oh, Karl-Heinz Riedler, yeah. I'll tell you who else as well, that other German. And he bought him and sold him after this season, and he was brilliant. Heinz, what was his name? Heinz, left back.
Yeah, Heinz Riedke or something.
Christian
Riedke.
Ziege.
Babel? No, not Babel.
He was Babel, right back, and him left back.
Yeah.
Christian Ziege.
Hey,
Christian Ziege.
Ziege,
Yeah.
that's him.
Ziege, that's the one.
Ziege.
What about
That
the
one
man
is
that made?
football.
What about the man that proved the greatest miss ever seen at Anfield? Ronnie Rosenthal.
Ronnie, oh.
Oh,
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Remember when we did the pod, or it was when the other fella, Nunes missed that open goal.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if you think that was bad, if you were old enough and remember Ronnie Rosenthal against Fulham.
He was on the goal line. He was on the goal line.
I thought it was over the bar.
Oh, and it was in that most horrid green Carlsberg kit as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Paul
It's a shame that's what he's known for, and he was a good enough player, to be honest.
He was only on loan, was Anelka. TW. Mo Sissoko. Yeah, Sissoko, I thought he was good. Barosh, I thought was going to be a star. Didn't happen, always tried though. Really good on his day.
He was in Istanbul, though, wasn't he? In Istanbul.
Yeah, he's got a, yeah. Lads, anti-terrorist should have bid for him, but he didn't. Divock.
yeah. Can't
Oh,
forget.
yeah. He knows
But
me
he
a
was a
legend.
Big
legend
fan.
in his own right. He was a legend in his own right.
Yeah.
Was in the cup in '93. Rosenthal scored. Yeah, I was there, and I think I mentioned this the other week. And this
Yeah,
big
I was there.
Evertonian was sitting next to it. Well, I didn't know he was big. He was just sitting there. And I'm like, and he said, "Sit down." I went, "I won't. I won't." Like that. Like the big hand case I am. I said, "I won't." What are you going to do about it? Because I was jumping up and down. I think I was kicking him and everything. And he stood up. And I went like that.
He's 6'6".
Frank just went whack.
And I said, "All right, but was he in your way, mate?" Sat down.
You want a brew?
Oh,
Yeah.
shy of him. Now, never seen a fella so big and all me. That sounds like shovels. And he was in the cup in '93. That's what he said. Oh, that was unbelievable. Yossi Benayoun.
I liked him. He was a good clever
the
player.
Barnabou.
He was good.
They had that at the Barnabou to beat Real 1-0 and slaughter them here 4-0. Remember Morientes? Francine loved him.
He was crap
Said,
for us.
"Daddy's lovely." I said, "No, you wanted to."
Fernando Morientes.
He was. We got him when he was, just about.
Yeah.
But he was good. He was tremendous. I liked him. Craig Bellamy, his pace was scary.
Yeah, it was. He was quick.
Yeah. 2 goals at the new camp.
Yeah, he was. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's handy with the
Brian
golf
says-
club as well.
Brian says a lorry driver smashed his lorry into the side of the bridge today just before the tunnel. My friend sent me a photo of it today and told me, Brian, I didn't know Nunes drove lorries. Smashed it into it. I hope you're not going to come out with bad jokes like that when you come to see me. CW, Mike Hooper. Mike Hooper. Just keeps coming back to me during these shows. How lucky we are to have had so many great teams and special players over the decades.
Oh yeah, we're blessed as a supporting base.
Oh.
I mean, there's no
Yeah.
support as the memories we've had. I can tell you that from personal experience over a long time. We've really had some really good memories.
Yeah, Titty.
Titty Kamara.
Titty Kamara.
Hey, can you guys remember the caveman?
The caveman.
Yeah, Bjorn Torkavama.
Oh,
The caveman.
Dredging the battle now.
They called him the caveman.
do you know what the players used to call it? Do you ever remember Bjornaby? Bjornaby.
Stig Burnaby.
Diggy.
I was in the players' lounge once, and I was just sitting there, just having a bevy, and they were calling him Stig of the Dump.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, think of the dumps.
Stig of the Dump. Yeah, Stig of the Dump. That's what they used to say. Richard Murray, Peter Crouch.
Oh, Crouchy, yeah, great overhead kick.
Oh, unbelievable! When he scored the hat-trick against, he scored it with his right and his left and a header.
Can any of you
Frank,
boys
Frank,
remember
I'm going to have to get off now.
Yeah, I'm going myself. I'm just finishing off.
I'm just saying there, I'm going to see Brian. Is it Brian on Saturday at the Hotel Anfield? I'm bringing it. Must be signed a book for him.
Are you coming down to me? Because that's,
No, I won't be able to because I've got to get back to the Wolves for 3 o'clock because I'm playing golf.
Well, he's
I'm
got
meeting
my
him at the
address.
Hotel Anfield, so I'm just
Okay,
confirming
I
from
can't
now.
make it. There's no way I can make it, you see.
No, don't worry. I'll see you. I'll come and see you again separately.
Okay.
I promised him I would, sort the
No,
book out.
that's fine.
And I'll give
I
him
just
some
wanna-
pictures.
It's Norman, yeah.
Norman, yeah, that's Norman. So I know who to ask for when I come to the hotel. Yeah.
Asking for
Okay.
Brian. He's like, no, he's not here.
Yeah, look at this. Dean O'Brien, listen to this, George. All right, Frank, on my way home from Jürgenting at the Echo Arena, a truly fitting tribute to one of the greatest humans that ever lived and one of the greatest Liverpool managers of all time.
Yeah, Jeff
House.
Goulding's there. Jeff Goulding's there. He sent me a photograph. It looked amazing.
He would be, yeah. He would be.
Packed house,
And,
yeah.
I'll finish off by saying Nigel Spackman. So I liked Nigel Spackman. I thought he was very good, to be honest.
Emileski as well, I think. A little bit
Hey.
underrated. Emileski?
Emileski, I don't know. Well, listen, boys, I'm going to finish because George has to go. I've just got to say a big thank you to Darryl. I've got to say a big thank you to JK. Got to say a big thank you to the found Shankly boy.
Great to see Darryl and JK there. Well, I can't see JK, but I can hear him. That wonderful voice.
And to all the lads out there and the girls, especially Dorothy, thank you for joining us. And Ali Noose, all the way from Romania. Thank you for joining us tonight. Tips, all the way from Montenegro.
Yeah.
Thanks, lads. Thank you, everybody. And I'll see you all on, I don't know when we'll see you. We'll have to sort it out. Paul Turner, good night, Frank. Cheers, boys. Isn't that lovely? Cheers, boys. Hope to see JK and the King Balotelli picture.
We'll go sort them pictures out, JK.
Mm-hmm.
Night to all interesting discussion tonight. Sleep tight. And 2 big kisses for Frank. Thank you, Dorothy. And see you all soon. Okay.
Okay, Frank. I'll be in touch, Frank. Anyway, I'll be in touch. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Lovely to see you, boys. Yeah. Take care. Good night. God bless. And I'll see Brian on Saturday.
Okay. Thank you.
Norman.
Norman, yeah, you mixed up with all the names. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I'll be asking for Anne.
Right,
See you
guys.
later, boy. See you later. Ciao.